Also getting YouTube situated. Looks like we're all good. Hey, Cody. Nice to see you, man. Prezi. Yeah, I'm live. Hey from Barcelona? Well, hey from the US then. Yeah, Diana, the last time I went live, I didn't have this background because I'm like, I don't think I could take all the. It got too much traction. I think Parker. Do you think Parker's lives and my lives are too different? Like he talks about very different stuff than I do. It's hard to compare. I mean, so other than the God stuff, like let's talk about other stuff. Upload all of these on YouTube, even if you don't think they're great. Uh, the standard. I have standards. Join the military? Why would I? Ooh, no. Host is a megalomaniac. You don't know me. Okay, I got a request. What's up, love you? What do you disagree about?
Can you hear? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I can hear you.
So, I just want to preface by saying that I'm not a religious person.
Okay.
I don't believe in necessarily any one religion, but I think that calling Christianity or Islam false is not necessarily a wise move. And
What
the
do you mean
reason
by
why I
that?
say that, because it means something to other people. Just because it doesn't mean anything to you doesn't mean it's false. You know, for a lot of people, Islam is all they have, Christianity is all they have. And they find guidance and love in that religion. And I'm not saying that they're uncriticizable because they're not.
Would
But
you
I
feel the
think
same
that,
way about the Proud Boys?
what do you mean?
You know what the Proud Boys are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they get a lot of hope, meaning, and purpose, a lot of belonging. But you think we shouldn't criticize them?
I
Or
didn't say that we shouldn't criticize them. I think that it should be criticized. I think everything should be criticized. But I
well,
think
then yeah, my
I think
criticism is that Christianity is false.
blatantly calling it false, however, is not wise, because you're saying that you're judging billions of people for choosing their religion that gives them hope and gives them guidance. And I am not saying that it is uncriticizable. I'm not a religious person. I believe that God is one with this universe. I believe in omnipresence. I think that
Wait, so you're
you
saying that I shouldn't criticize them because of their feelings?
I didn't say not criticize them, not call them false.
That's a criticism, you understand, right?
That's a statement.
It's a
You're
critical
stating
statement,
that
right?
they are false. You're
Yeah.
calling them false. That's
Yes.
not a criticism.
That's a criticism.
No, criticism is saying something like, I don't think that that's really the best option. Not
Yeah, I don't think it's
that
the best
is
option
that is
because it's
not
false, right?
that is not the best option is not the same as I don't believe that is the best option. Saying Christianity is false or Islam is false or any other religion is false is exactly what they would use to say about anything else. So you're playing their own game.
I still don't really understand why I should revise.
because it's not wise words to use.
What do you
They're
mean
not they're
why?
not, they're not wise words. If you say
Why?
that one thing is because saying one thing is false completely invalidates people who genuinely have put everything in their life into these religions.
Yeah, I mean, look, it
I'm
happens.
not
People
saying that I'm
invest a
not
lot
saying
of people invest a lot into things that aren't true, and sorry about that. They just have to get over it when people say that it's not true.
no, I'm not saying that I believe in these religions. I'm not a religious person.
Yeah,
What
you
I'm
said that.
saying
Yeah,
is that I should at least you should at least respect the reason
yeah.
why people
I just don't agree that to say something is false is disrespectful. I just don't know why it would be disrespectful.
well, I mean, they see well because as I said before, this is everything to them. Islam is everything to them.
Yeah, and the point is,
And
okay, look, if they
if
want
you
to
go
keep their,
like,
if they want to believe in something false because it gives them hope, meaning, and purpose, then I support that.
what makes you think necessarily that what they believe? Like I don't believe in angels or demons. I say that to them, but
Hmm.
then again, everybody else's interpretation of something is different. Like I just got off a live with a Norse pagan. They are extremely open and accepting of everybody's point of view. And even if I don't agree with them, I tell them how I feel, and they say that everything happens for a reason. They believe everything happens for a reason. If you were to
Hmm.
say that this entire religion is false, then you're going to say that Islam's teachings about racism are false, Islam's teachings about slavery are false, Islam's teachings about whatever else that is good and moral in humanity. The same with Christianity. If you say that's false, then you're destroying and spitting on everything that they believe in. Not just
What do you mean
the
by
not
destroying? Look, I mean, if it's the case that I cause doubt and some an existential crisis because someone finds it to be like my arguments to be persuasive, yeah, that sucks. And I would say that if as long as you're not hurting other people, if you can stick to your religion, stay Christian, stay Muslim if it makes you happier. I don't have a problem with that. It just doesn't make it true. That's all I'm saying.
well, what makes it necessary? You don't think it's true, but what makes you think it's false?
Because I think, especially when it comes to Islam and or any kind of perfect being theology, that's incompatible with evil. I don't think evil could exist or would exist if God exists in that sense.
You don't think evil would exist if God existed?
Right. And I think I accept the logical problem of evil.
Well, this is what I believe. And you're a philosopher. I would consider myself a philosopher. How old are you?
I'm basically 30, I'm turning 30 a couple days.
I'm 19. I understand a lot of where you're coming from because you don't want necessarily to think that people should you know people should walk on eggshells all the time with religious people who say shitty things because everything deserves criticism. Every single thing deserves criticism, and I will always stand by that. But I also think it is important to understand that people need to respect other people's opinions. And if you,
Yeah, but again, you and I disagree that saying that you have a false belief isn't disrespectful. I just
you
don't
are
think.
not, you're not, yeah, but it's not coming across. That's not a belief. That's a statement up there. You're not saying I believe Christianity is false. You're saying Christianity is false.
Do you think 2 + 2 = 4?
I'm sorry.
Do you think 2 + 2 = 4? Do you
Yes,
think that's
of
true,
course.
right? And then 2 + 2,
Yes, but that's
2 + 2 is 5 is false, right?
yeah.
Okay, so in the same way, I'm just
But
saying that
again, you're roping.
Christianity is false.
You are roping all of that religion
Yeah,
into that by
yeah.
saying that. So you don't believe that Islam's teachings that a white person and a black person being equal are true? You think that's false?
I don't think that's unique to Islam.
Well, it's definitely not in Christianity.
Well, that's up for debate. But the point is that when I say Christianity is false, I'm just saying I don't think there is a God. I don't think Jesus is God. I think the Trinity is incoherent. I think
And
the
you can
incarnation
say
is.
and you can say I believe that. And I say I believe that. I
I would
don't
say I
I,
know
I
that. I
think
wouldn't
that
say I believe it. I would say I know it.
you don't
Although,
you
yeah.
don't know anything. Nobody knows anything.
Do you know that?
Know what?
Do you know that no one knows anything?
Yes. Well, that's the one thing that we can always
You
be
just
certain of.
contradicted
That's the
yourself.
one thing that we can always be certain of is that I know but one thing, that I know nothing. That is from Socrates. He is also a philosopher.
Yeah, I think you're misunderstanding what Socrates is getting at there. But the idea is that I think you're using a too tight of a notion of knowledge. I mean, I think if I have a good reason for believing something and it turns out to be true, I know it. That's all. And I think there are good reasons to think atheism is
Well,
true.
here's the thing. Like you're never like if you're going to talk to like a priest or an imam or somebody who spent their entire lives, then they're always going to come up with a counter argument and say something like, well, yeah, but it's interpreted differently. They may, I know Christians that don't actually believe in a heaven or a hell or actually believe the stories in the Bible, but they know that they take them as lessons because
Okay,
there are
but
lessons.
I don't ever like I don't really debate like the existence of heaven so much as the existence of God. The point is that if God doesn't exist, it just makes Christianity false. It makes Islam false. It makes a lot of other perfect being theologies false, right?
Once again, that is your belief. You don't
Yes.
know
And
that.
well, I don't see how you could make that claim. I don't think you know that I don't know that, in other words.
You don't see how I
You
know
don't know that I don't know it.
nobody knows anything.
Well,
Nobody,
why would you say
no,
that?
no
Do you know?
human
How
being.
are you? I don't even know what you mean by knowledge anymore, right? Like, it seems like I already said this earlier. You're using too narrow of a view of knowledge, right? All I take knowledge to be is for just more or less is something like if you have a good reason, if you believe it,
Yes, but
and it turns out to be true,
here's the
then
thing,
if you
though.
know it.
But
What?
here's the thing, though. Realism isn't always the right path. Realism
I'm not
doesn't
talking about
always.
realism. I'm not. I don't know what you're talking about. Look, I'm just saying if I know something, I have a good reason for believing it. I believe it, and it turns out to be true. That's all I know. That's all I mean by knowledge in this context.
My point is that if you make a statement like that, no matter what, people are always going to take it as you don't even view their own morals as being true.
Well, then they'd just be mistaken.
What do you mean?
The point is that I'm not, when I'm saying that Christianity is false, I'm not saying that what Christian people value is false because there are certain values that Christians have that I have, right? But I'm not saying that those are false. I'm just talking about, theism, Trinitarian doctrine, incarnation, perfect being theology. I think most people are interpreting, Jesus is God. That's what I'm denying. That's how most people are interpreting me.
Well, I mean, do you blame them for thinking that?
I don't know if I would use the blame, but I think they're making a mistake, and they
They're
can
always
just.
well. They're all anybody would think that if you put a
No, I don't
statement
think so.
Christianity is
I
false.
don't think people think that when I say Christianity is false, they interpret that as something like stealing is good. They're not interpreting that, right? They're interpreting that. Oh, I reject that Jesus is God. I reject the existence of God. I reject Trinitarian doctrine. I reject the incarnation. Something like that. Or maybe reject the New Testament or old, something. I mean, they're not saying, "Oh, this guy believes stealing is good." All of a sudden, that's really poor interpret. I would blame someone if they thought that that's
Well,
what I was
again,
saying.
they're going to be suspicious of you. They're going to think that. Even if you explain to
Okay,
them
that's
that's
fine.
not
Then I can just
even
correct. Then I can correct them. Then I can clarify and say this is what I mean, and then end of story. We move on with the conversation.
okay. Well, I'm just
All right.
saying I'm just saying it's going to keep happening. If
I
you're
don't
okay
have
with
this
that,
problem. I actually don't have the problem that you're saying. I've talked to Christians for years, right? And I've never had this problem. The problem that you're highlighting, right, is not a problem. Now, it's true that people have been offended by it. Okay. If that's what you're saying, yeah, people are going to get offended by it. I don't really care. Okay.
I'm just explaining people's thought process.
No, I'm telling you wrong about the thought process because I've talked to more Christians than you have, right? And I'm telling you, they don't interpret me the way that you're saying that they would interpret me. And it's true, but something you are right about is that a lot of them get offended. But I just don't care if they're offended by me just saying that their views are false. In fact, I would encourage that they believe in false beliefs if it makes them happier and they don't hurt people. Okay.
Well, this is the other thing I want to get at. When you say that their beliefs are false, or when you say Christianity, Islam is false, any of these religions, whatever, it's also important to understand that not everything necessarily in the Bible or in the Quran is supposed to be taken literally.
Yeah, I'm not saying that either.
Like heaven and hell have existed. The ideas of heaven and hell have existed far before Christianity or Islam.
Yeah. And I don't usually debate stuff like that. I
Well,
rarely talk about the Bible, actually. Rarely.
so then why would you still claim that these religions are false to the
Because if
people that who
theism
believe
is false, because if there are arguments against theism, then Christianity and Islam are in trouble.
well, I do understand where you're coming from.
Okay.
I'm just saying that like making a blanket statement like that is it comes across as intolerable of other people. And I'm
Well,
not
a
saying that
lot of
you're
people don't. Some people get offended and think I'm not tolerant of their views. I'm actually very tolerant of Christianity. My whole family's Christian, and I don't really give them a hassle about it. The whole reason why I put these prompts up is to get people to talk about it. That's all. I don't really care if you're a Christian. Just, as long as you don't harm others and don't harm yourself, I'm not really going to care.
Well, don't you think that it should be reworded then? Just to avoid that?
Rewarded? What do you mean?
No, reworded.
Why? Why
So
would I
that you
do
don't
that?
have this problem. So that you
I don't have look. I don't think there are any problems, right? I don't. I think everything that happens in this kind of space of debate, I don't really. It's just normal. It's what I'm used to. I don't really think that things need to change in my in the way I run my lives. I think it's fine.
Well, I don't know. It just comes across as unhealthy.
Okay, yeah, I don't see it that way.
To attract all that hatred in the comments and
You can't look. People hate the Pope. It's just like it doesn't. You're gonna get hate if you take any kind of public space. You're gonna have haters no matter how hard you try to please people. Okay, so there's nothing you can't insulate yourself from hate, right? Like in these kind of spaces, right? And so you just toughen up. And if people misinterpret you, if people call you stupid or say that you're ignorant or that you're going to hell, I don't care. Okay, it's part of the game, part of the whole discourse.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. What do you think of Friedrich Nietzsche?
I really like Nietzsche. It's a different. And there are different traditions of philosophy. He's not in my tradition, but I think they're golden nuggets in his writings. I think in fact, he kind of, the whole idea of like, what I just said is that if you're a Christian and it affirms your life and you don't hurt other people, like fine, be a Christian. That's how Nietzsche would think, right? What Nietzsche's really against is the kind of Christianity that cheapens your life, the kind of Christianity that detracts from your life for another otherly world. And so that, I'm against that. But actually, Nietzsche wouldn't really give a flip about people that are religious, but still affirm their own lives and become who they are. So I learned a lot from Nietzsche. Nietzsche says that we shouldn't be obsessed with capital T truth, right? I mean, he's like more that I take away from that. I think that's interesting. So yeah, I like him.
I really like Nietzsche. I've always been interested in him. His "God is dead" quote was something that a lot of people are always going to look at as him being a nihilist, but he was really an anti-nihilist.
I think it's a fine interpretation. I mean, it just depends. There are different types of nihilism. I think there's a sense in which he is and a sense in which he's not. And a lot of people misinterpret the "God is dead" quote. I think, and if you, I think that's the madman, right? That's the madman. I think the madman's talking to atheists, right? And he's just pointing out that with that the implications of God's death, right? That like God had been like a bastion of metaphysics and morality and all this stuff, and now that he's dead, there's like consequences to that sociologically and psychologically, and I think that's what he's trying to get out there. But anyways,
Well, I mean, the reason why he said God was dead was because he wanted people to reevaluate their morals because they took God as something that is everything to them. God was everything to them, and so when he compared it to a kid losing his parents for the first time, his parents dying when he was young, and he says that you're placed in a world of loneliness because you're mourning the death of God, but he said it so people would reevaluate their morals, so that people would not.
yeah, I think that could be true, but if it's in the context of the madman, right? So there's like a whole scene there. It's supposed to describe that. Look, if God is really dead, then what do we hold on to? And then Nietzsche has some answers for that. But yeah, but I appreciate your time. I'm gonna move on to the next person. There are a lot of people that requested. So.
All right, cool. All right, see you.
Okay, you have a great one. Bye.
with that he's God, and also about the pronouns you were telling about, like he, him, or like the gendering of God. So what in Islam is that God, which is called Allah by us, doesn't have a gender. And also in the English language, like the
Wait, okay, now I'm lost. I feel like we're rambling a little bit. We disagree that God exists, right? We agree on a lot about Christianity. We think there. I actually think that Christians have way more philosophical issues than Muslims. Okay, but so we agree on all that. Okay, but I do. Why do you believe that Islam is true? Why do you believe that God exists?
because there are phrases in the Quran, and also what the guy before me said about the future and stuff. I mean, when also about the day of judgment, and when the world is like, going to end. There are also phrases where it tells what is going to happen. And you were telling the guy that if you write a book about, I don't know, a president or stuff,
Right.
that he should believe that you're a god or something. I mean, if there's um everything got told, and we're like, yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. There are like four major signs left in the Quran. I'm just telling that it's my source. But where's your source that uh I don't know, God doesn't exist? Like,
Okay.
I
Do
mean,
you think God is infallible? Like, can he fail
fail in what?
with respect to what he wants?
um
If he
I
wants
don't think
something,
so.
is he going to fail? Okay. Does God want me to be a Muslim right now?
Probably yes. But
Okay.
since you're not going to change your mind,
Then God
that's,
fails.
yeah, fails because your beliefs is not strong enough,
Right. And so the point is
because no
that,
one is clearing you up what the religion is, or like
sure,
the other religions are.
sure. The point is that God is no longer infallible because he doesn't always get what he wants. Right. And
God,
so
listen, God doesn't care if you literally be Muslim or not. It's
he
your own
doesn't?
thing. Like, I
You
mean,
just said he
he would like
does.
to,
Okay.
he
He would
would
like
like
it. He
to, but
wants
like,
it.
he wants it, but it doesn't mean that you're still convinced, and you will I mean, you will see that later in hell. I'm not telling you that you're going to hell, because as a human, I can tell if you're
That's
going
fine. I
this
don't
or
get
that
offended
way.
by that. Trust me. If I got offended
Okay.
by that, okay. Look, the point is this: is that one reason why I don't think Islam makes sense is because they think God can't fail. God is infallible. He always gets what he wants.
Well, Muslims have trust in God, and it's like they care about their own asses. I'm telling you that they want to go to heaven. But if you don't want to, then you don't have to. Like, I mean, it's your own punishment later. Sooner or later, you will see it yourself.
Okay,
But
but look, the point is that do you think God is infallible?
well, he doesn't fail. It's the point that you failed right now, because you literally don't
I'm
believe
not.
in that.
Look, the point is that all failure is being out of accord with what you want to do. Right. That's all failure is. If I want something, I don't get it at the time that I wanted it. I didn't succeed, and so I failed. Right now, whether it's my fault or your fault or someone else's fault, it's a different question. Okay, fault and failure, I'm going to distinguish here. But the idea is that under Islam, God is all powerful. He cannot fail. He knows how to succeed. And so if God,
Well, I also don't like don't understand why you're caring about all this. That Christianity is false, Islam is false, that Jesus is
oh,
transgender
you're
if you don't
changing
have
the
a belief.
subject, but I'm fine changing the subject here. Look, because then we can just go into the next person. Why do I care? I truly don't care if someone believes in their religious institution or set of views, religious set of views, unless it gets in the way of certain political ends I want, or in the way of if it harms themselves or other people, I might care. In fact, I do care about that. But look, if your religion gives you your hope, meaning, and purpose, all power to you. I have nothing against it. It just doesn't make it true, though.
Mm. Okay, so that's how you think about it.
Yeah, that's how I
Well,
think about
since
it.
I can't change your mind, I also don't see a point where I'm discussing with you, because you won't change your mind anyways.
All right,
I also
I appreciate your request.
Yeah, okay, see you then. I hope you get guided or something. Yeah.
I bet you do. I bet you do. Have a good one. Bye. All right, who's next? Um, I think it was who's next, guys? I need a mod to tell me who's next because I can't see who's been waiting the longest. TikTok made this really dumb mistake Okay, Frank. I'm trusting you, Frank. Okay. You- Hey, Frank. What do we disagree about?
I disagree in you saying Christianity is false. Like, I'm a
Okay.
Christian and I've seen a lot of things that God has done for me, you know. You can access God, you know, you can access God through Jesus Christ. So that's why we always pray to Jesus.
Okay. Why do you think Jesus is God?
Well, I'm not saying he's God, but he's the son of God, bro.
Oh, Jesus is not God?
Yeah, he's the
Jesus.
son of God.
Oh, if he's not God, you're a heretic, sir, and they're going to burn you at the stake. And which is fine. They're
I
probably going to
don't
burn
think
me.
so.
But like, okay, fine. Why do you think God exists?
God exists because I've seen his work, you know. I was a student and I've seen so much miracle happen in my life, you know, so many things that, you know, I was
Why do you think it was
sick.
God and not something else? Why do you think it was God and not something else?
What?
Why do you think it was God and not something else?
Who?
Why do you think the stuff that you saw? Why do you think it was God that did it rather than something else?
I think because I went to several hospital and no cure, and I just had to like sit back at home and keep praying with my pastor, and yeah, I started getting healings without taking no
Do you
drugs.
think
So
only gods can? Do you think God is the only one capable of doing those kinds of things? Have you not seen any of the Marvel movies? Like, if
no.
Doctor Strange healed
You
someone
want me
with
to say
magic, is he
you
God
want me
now?
to say a human being? No, I pray to God. I pray to God, and He's for real, bro. God is real. Come on, I've seen His
All right,
work.
all right. You're just like ignoring me or something. I'm gonna go to the next person. Sorry guys, I'm just gonna start from the bottom. I'm so sorry if I'm skipping people. I don't mean to be. What's up, yo?
Hi.
I'm not even gonna. Are you over the age of 18?
Yes,
What's your birth year?
2002.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
I think that Islam is the truth.
Okay. Why?
Scientific evidence that proves that it's real.
Is God? Does science study nature? Hello.
I didn't hear you.
Does God? Does science study nature? Is this okay? He's okay. I'm sorry. You sound like a kid. I'm not gonna risk it. If you were really born in 2002, I'm sorry. Don't. I mean, no offense. My chat was like warning me. Oh, okay. This person's not connecting. Let's go to Lath. Hey, Lath, what do we disagree about? Hello? All right. Moving on to the next person. There are too many people waiting. Guys, if you're here, then just be ready to like talk with me. Okay. What's up, Gaseous?
Yeah, it was good, bro.
Hey, what do we disagree about?
What do you mean Islam is false?
Well, if theism is false, then Islam is false.
Oh, okay. So theism in general.
Yeah, if theism in general is false, then no views that hold to theism can be true, and that includes Islam.
So I would argue the contingency argument. There has to be a necessary existence because we exist. We did not create ourselves. So
Why does there have to be a necessary existence?
because we exist, and
I don't.
nothing can come out of nothing, and nothing can be just brought forth out of nothing. Something has to be the necessary existence that all else depends on.
Yeah, I don't see why I would accept that. Why should I accept that?
I mean, just basic logic observation. I mean, did you create yourself?
Okay, if I say God doesn't exist because of basic logic and observation, are you going to find that forceful?
No, but I mean,
Then why are you saying it? Tell me something that's going to be like at least convincing, man. Come on.
You did not create yourself. Your parents didn't create themselves. Something's dependent on something. You understand what I'm saying? Like you can't be just independent and just create yourself out of nothing.
I'm not saying
Matter.
that. The atheists don't have to believe that.
So where'd you come from? Where did
Can't,
everything come from?
well, I don't think there's going to be an ultimate explanation for everything, because then you get modal collapse.
I mean,
Modal collapse just means there's no such thing as possibility, because if everything's explained, nothing could be different, and if nothing could be different, nothing else is possible in the way things are. So I don't really think there's going to be an answer to the question, why is there is it, like, I don't think there's going to be a fundamental explanation for everything.
So the answer, I mean, here's the thing. If you take the contingency to its limit, then you're gonna get to the point where you're like, okay, there's something that started. Like, do you believe in the Big Bang?
Sure.
Cool. And so something had to have caused that Big Bang to create the matter that caused the Big Bang to.
I don't think that's true, but we can say it's true. I'm fine with granting it. I don't think that's necessarily true.
If not that, then that means the matter created itself.
It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that in the first moment of time there was matter, in the second moment of time there was matter. That's all it means.
Okay, so then you're saying that matter came from like, where did this matter come from?
It's the first moment, so it's an unintelligible question, right? If the first moment there was the natural world, then to ask what was prior to the first moment as to cause the first moment is an unintelligible question, because there would be a moment before the first moment. So it's I don't know why you'd be asking that.
Good. So that math that we can't get to, we can get to the moment right before the first moment. Anything beyond that is
no, I don't. Look, remember what I said. Remember what I said. I don't believe that there's a first moment, but there could be. Okay, I don't really take a strong view, right? So I'm fine with granting to you that there's a first moment, and if there is a first moment, it doesn't imply that the first moment has an explanation.
So okay, I got you. I argue that before the first moment is something that's out of our comprehension. That's why you say
there can't be before the first moment. You understand that's unintelligible, right?
So go ahead.
Because if the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There's nothing before 1 in terms of the sequence of moments, because if it was before 1, that would be the first moment.
So and that's what I'm saying, because the God that I'm describing, he invented time, so he exists outside.
That doesn't make any sense, right? If God explains time, then that means there has to be something before time, but before and after already require time. It doesn't make sense for anything to create or invent or explain time, right? Causally explain time. So if God caused anything, he already is in time.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, you have two choices. Either something.
That's not what you're saying. Why would you say that? That is not what you said. You said God invented time, right?
Yes.
That's what you said.
Created time.
Right. And I gave an argument for why that doesn't make any sense. Because if you're creating time, then there's something before time. But before and after already imply time, which means that, sorry, I should have not eaten that chocolate. My bad. If there's something before time, then there's time before time, and that doesn't make any sense. You can't have time before time. That's like saying there's humans before humans. Makes no sense.
Got you.
You see?
All right, Bub. I know you got a long list of people, so I'm gonna let you go.
Okay,
but I appreciate the conversation.
I was fine with talking, but if you wanna head out.
Okay, bet. Cool. Let me refute you right quick.
Okay.
So, so just follow me, right? So you're saying that before the first moment, are you saying there wasn't a first moment?
If there, I don't believe there's a first moment, but let's say there is. Let's say there's a first moment of time. Okay, there can't be a moment before the first moment, because then that moment would be the first moment. You understand?
Unless something exists outside of time. That's the only thing.
No, then there would be. Well, okay, I'm fine with saying that there are things that exist timelessly. That's not my problem. What I'm not fine with saying is that timeless things cause temporal things, because cause and effect already require time.
What is time?
Time is that which makes moments possible, makes change possible, and orders moments.
So how do you quantify time? How do you say this is the beginning of time? How do you say this is time? Like, how do you quantify it? To say that there's no first moment.
We can use clocks, right? Or I don't know. maybe you have a better answer than I do, but the point is that there can't be time. There can't be moments before time. Causation requires moments, so there can't be causation before prior to the first moment. That's the argument.
I got you. All right. Well, I'll concede until I find a better time argument, but I'll see you around. My man used to
Yeah,
say,
look, you should look into he believes in God. I'm just trying to steer you in the right direction. I think this is my opinion. There's a guy named Ryan Mullins. He believes in God. He thinks that timeless God makes no sense. That God was in the first moment, and then the natural world was in the subsequent moments. That's what he thinks. But
that only exists. That only makes sense if God is within time. So
right, exactly. That's the better view. I think the people that believe in God should accept that God is in time. He's a temporal thing, not an atemporal thing.
Gotcha.
That's my opinion, right? That's my view, and I'm giving you a non-atheist to look into who agrees with me.
Gotcha. Understood. All right,
All
my
right.
man used to say.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye. Okay. Who's next? Who's next? I need to refresh my mod list. I'll do that at the end of stream. Okay, I think I'm gonna do something new today, guys. I'm gonna keep on accepting it. What's up, Blitz? After I might stream for like what 40 minutes, something like that, and then afterwards I'm gonna go on YouTube. I'm already live on YouTube, and then there's a link for anyone to join. You don't need 1,000 followers. You don't need to have a TikTok account or a YouTube account necessarily. Usually, I think I had to have a Google account. But you're free to talk to me there and maybe with other people. So I'm gonna do that at the end of my stream. I'm gonna switch to YouTube. Anyone can join, up to 10 people. All right. Who is next? I'm just gonna go from the bottom. I'm one day they'll fix the TikTok thing. So I'm sorry for the injustice for people that have been waiting longer. Sergeant, is that a One Piece hat?
Yeah, it's One Piece.
Oh, okay. Are you a Christian?
Anything wrong with One Piece?
I like One Piece, yeah, but we don't have to talk about it. I just wanted to confirm.
All right.
Okay, you're a Christian?
No, not really. No.
Oh, you have a lot of background noise. Wait, you have a lot of background noise? Like tons.
Yeah, let me see. Is it better now?
No, it's not any better.
Not any better. Well, I don't really know what to do about that.
Okay, just request at another time, Ben. I'm sorry, man. I really hope you didn't wait too long. Guys, you're requesting at your own risk. If you got to go, go. I'm not going to get to everyone. Just not. What's up, Aluya?
Hey, what's up?
What do we disagree about?
The second one.
Okay. Why do you believe in Islam?
I believe in Islam because all of the knowledge that I've learned in Islam is true. And
Sorry, could you repeat that? I didn't get that.
I believe in Islam because I learned all of the knowledge that I get from Islam is true. So why do you say?
What are you saying? All the what?
All of the knowledge.
The what?
That I've got.
Guys,
knowledge.
Knowledge. Are you saying knowledge?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Knowledge. Okay, so you got all the knowledge from where?
From Islam.
But I'm asking why you think Islam is true. So that's a little circular.
You wait. So you said in the first question, you said why I believe in Islam, right?
Yeah, well, okay, yeah. But what I'm asking there, to be fair to you, sure. But I think what I mean by that question is, why do you think it's true?
Oh, why Islam is true?
Yeah, why do you think it's true?
Okay, so I think like I just said before, Islam is true. I think I've got I want to give you some example. In Islam, there is a verse that said that there is two different water that cannot join together in the sea. And
Okay, look. I think I can't do this. Okay, I couldn't understand you, and then I heard something to water in the sea. I don't think this conversation is going to go anywhere. So I'm just gonna cut to the chase. There are too many people with the request that I can better understand, and it's not just that you're ESL. It's just that I don't know why you're bringing up the C, and it's too much work to go through. Yeah, this kind of sucks though. I wish it wasn't that way. All right, I accepted the next person. Oh, didn't accept. Okay. Diana, who's next? Who's been waiting the longest, guys? Can someone look? Who's been waiting the longest? Unknown S. Okay, let's see. Oh, I accepted him, but he didn't request. I think some people have dropped. All right, let me go to this person. What's up, Base? What do we disagree about?
So, why do you think Jesus is trans?
It's only true if you're a Christian, right? So if you're an atheist or if you're a Muslim, I don't think Jesus is trans.
I'm Jewish.
You're Jewish, so it's not true then. But what Christians are committed to believe is that Jesus existed as God prior to the incarnation, right? And he had preferred pronouns. It's a he, okay? But it's not a man. Jesus was not a man before his incarnation. So it was a different gender, like a third category, if you want to say. Okay?
So, what was he?
Just a third category of gender. I mean, the divine gender, we'll call it.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
All right.
right.
Does it make sense?
Yes. So, why do you not believe in God?
Well, I think God is well, you're Jewish, so there are a lot of different. I've talked to a lot of Jewish people that believe in God, and they have different conceptions of God. So I just think that there's a problem with a perfect being, right? So if you think God is a perfect being, he's all powerful, he's all knowing, he's all good, then I don't think that God is compatible with the possibility or existence of evil.
I think you haven't heard of the story of Adam and Eve.
Oh, I have heard of it.
Yeah.
I don't see how that fixes the problem.
So, why do you think there's evil in this world?
Because God, look, it's an internal critique. So it doesn't matter what I believe. The point is that on Christianity, on Islam, on Judaism, there's evil, right? God believes there's evil. And that's all I need to get the argument off the ground.
Yes. But the question is, why do you think Islam is false? Christianity is false? That's the question.
Yeah, because those views think there's evil, yet they also believe in a perfect being, and those are not compatible.
What?
The reason why I think the Abrahamic religions are false is because they believe in perfect beings, but they also believe creation is imperfect. Okay, and I don't think that's compatible views. So I think they're all false because of it.
So let me explain it to you. A perfect being created non-perfect beings.
Yeah, and a perfect being would only do perfect things.
No, that doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it does. Do you think what God does can be imperfect?
Yes.
Okay, could God do something that should not happen?
No.
Okay, that's all I mean by imperfect, right? If something's
Look.
imperfect, it should change. It shouldn't be the way that
Listen.
it is.
So, what happened in the Garden of Eden? His creation was perfect and everything. There was only one rule. It was not to eat the fruit. But the snake, Satan, made them eat the fruit.
Why the snake forced it? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Why did Satan force sin into the world?
Because it's evil.
Yeah, but why? Why did he choose to do that? Why did Satan choose to do that?
There was always evil in this world. There will always be evil in this world.
Do you remember my question?
No, I have dementia.
Okay, well then I don't want to talk with someone that has dementia.
Okay, kill.
I mean, I'm not. I don't want to talk to memers. Sorry. Too many people requesting, and a lot of them aren't memers. All right, let's let. All right, cool. We got someone in. I heard something. But I don't see you. Man, TikTok is such a crappy platform, man. Crappy platform. All right, let's go to Kareem. I can hear myself. All right, what's up, Kareems? What do you want to talk about?
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. So you said Islam is false, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what makes you think that is false?
Because I don't think it makes sense for a perfect being to bring about imperfection.
So you're saying that God made imperfection? Is this what you're saying, right?
He brought it about. Without God, nothing would occur, right?
Yeah, but in the same time, that's not what I said in Islam.
I'm sorry. Is creation perfect under Islam?
So in the Quran, it's basically saying that God, he basically talks to the angels, and he says that he has made one of the perfect creations. Literally, that's what it says.
I'm asked. The question is creation in totality perfect?
In a way, yes, it is perfect.
So nothing should be different.
Nothing's different, yeah.
Nothing should be different.
Yeah, nothing should be different, yes.
So children dying of leukemia at age 4 very painfully, you think that should occur?
The reason it doesn't, this is what I know so far about Islam. So what it says about people dying from a disease at a young age is it's supposed to be like an example of.
You don't have to explain it. I just want to know what you believe. Do you think that children dying painfully of brain tumors and leukemia and genetic illnesses, that is all perfect? Praise God. Praise God for that.
Oh, no. Obviously, that's not perfect.
Okay, so then creation in totality is not perfect. I didn't kick him. All right. Who is next? Who's my next victim?
Hi.
Hey, are you over the age of 18?
Yes, I am. I was born in 2005.
Oh my goodness.
I'm gonna be 18 this year.
Oh no. No. You're got to be over the age of 18. All right. And remember, guys, I'm looking for people that disagree with me.
Hello.
Hey, what's up? What do you disagree about?
Two things. The bottom two.
Are you Muslim?
Yes, I'm Muslim.
Then the bottom one, I agree with you. Jesus is not trans if Islam is true, because Jesus is not God. Right. The bottom one is only true if you're a Christian. Okay. Why do you believe in?
Listen. Can I just say something about the bottom statement? Sure. As Muslims, yeah, we believe in Jesus as well, but we don't believe he's a god. He's a prophet. Right. We believe he's a prophet, right?
Right. I know that. Yeah.
So by you saying that he's trans, it's insulting our prophet.
Why would that be? Why would it be an insult to call someone trans?
Because at that time, trans people didn't exist. It was just gay or lesbian.
Yeah, but why is that an insult? Okay, let's say someone's mistaken. Right. I might think that someone is trans, and it turns out that they're not. Why would that be an insult?
Because it just is. Because it's haram. That's it.
I don't know what you mean by haram. Can you speak English?
I said haram, not halal.
I don't know what just speak English. I don't know what this means. Haram?
Haram is English, bro. No,
haram?
It's not English. Yeah, haram.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
Forbidden.
Why is it forbidden? Who cares?
What do you mean, who cares?
Yeah, what's wrong with being trans?
All right, wait. All right, I'll answer that question later. Let's get back to what I was saying before.
Okay.
So, how you said Islam is false here? Why do you think that? Go on, tell me. Why do you think that?
Why do I think God doesn't exist?
Why? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, to an extent.
Yeah, I just don't think it makes sense for a perfect being to bring about imperfections. I just don't think that makes any sense.
All right, I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, So you know how everyone dies, yeah,
Okay, sure.
yeah. One reason that before the person before you said that something about children dying to leukemia and stuff. So
Mhm.
you said that God makes that happen, yeah. But
Well,
did you also know?
God brought it about.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so
But did you also know that because people that in Islam we believe that there's a second life, the second life which is eternal,
sure.
yeah. And Allah says in the Quran, every soul shall taste death, right?
Okay.
So death can come to you at any time, yeah.
Okay. And
So it doesn't matter about what age or what how much you've lived. A newborn baby can die, whatever age it is, because it's already predestined for you, yeah.
I don't see why that would be true. Like the point is that the whole question is whether creation in its totality is perfect, and it's not.
It's not.
Right. And so that
No, listen. When you say creation itself is perfect because it's made in the way Allah made it. You get what I'm trying to say?
no.
So if
Wait,
you
let me clarify. Are you asking? What do you believe? Do you believe that creation in totality is perfect?
yeah,
Okay, so nothing about creation should change at any point in time, or should be
no,
different. All right. So, but earlier you just said that being trans is forbidden, that people should not be trans, right? So you contradicted yourself. So are you
yeah.
saying trans people should be the way that they are?
No, because no
So
one
there's
is
no
born
suddenly
trans.
there's
Listen,
no
listen.
no.
Listen,
The
no one
point
is born trans. No one is born trans. So
you're
people
missing
are
the
born
point.
either
I'm
male or
interrupting
female.
for a reason. You're missing the point. The point is that you said there's nothing about creation that should be different, but there are trans people that you say that's forbidden. Okay, which means that it should not occur. Okay, should not be the
Have you
case
heard?
that people choose to be trans. Okay,
All right,
choose to transition.
Listen. Have you heard of the term Satan's whisper?
No,
The phrase, anything like that?
no. Temptation? Are you talking about temptation?
Yeah, temptation.
Okay, yeah, temptation. I know what
Oh,
temptation is.
giving into your own desires to an extent.
Yes.
So what what we believe is a person who like in Islam. So say in a situation, one person has an attraction to men. Yeah, listen.
Okay.
Yeah, person number one has an attraction to men, even though he's a man. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So
perfect,
unless
right? That's perfect because if everything
listen.
no,
Can I finish?
I want to
Can I
stipulate
finish?
something. Remember, I want everyone to recognize that earlier you said everything in creation, creation in totality is perfect. So that means that anything you describe is going to be good. It's going to be perfect. So go ahead.
But can I finish? Can I finish, please?
Yeah, go ahead.
You didn't let me finish. So in Islam, as long as the person doesn't act upon his thoughts, he's not sinful. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but you understand this is a problem for you because if they do act on their thoughts, you're committed to saying that that's perfect because you think that. But you think because you think that creation in totality is perfect.
Creation
so when people,
in totality is perfect
because you
in the
think
way
so
they were made.
you think
In the way they were
so
made.
you think if you think that creation in totality is perfect, then gay sex is perfect because that's part of creation.
No. My friend, you're understanding me completely wrong. I'm saying that the way people were created is perfect.
But that's not my question.
They...
That's not my question. My question isn't. This is not my question. My question was not, is part of creation perfect or was the initial state of creation perfect? That is not my question. My question was, is creation in totality perfect? And if you say yes, then that means that gay sex is perfect.
No, it's not. Oh my days. You don't understand what I'm saying. What I'm saying
I don't think you understand logic. Right? If
Bro,
I say,
you don't understand
logic. If I say,
do you believe in the Big Bang Theory? Do you believe in the Big Bang Theory?
Excuse me. If I say all men are mortal, then that means that for any man I pick, okay, they're going to be mortal. So if you say all of creation is perfect, anything in creation is going to be perfect. And part of creation is gay sex. Okay? So gay sex is perfect.
Gay sex is not part of creation.
Then you're committed to saying that not all of creation is perfect.
All right, okay. Whatever you say, yeah. You believe I'm saying something and I'm saying something else, yeah.
We can continue.
All right, so let me ask you a
change
question.
if you want to change the topic, that's fine. Go ahead.
let me ask you a question. Do you believe in the Big Bang Theory?
Sure.
So do you believe in it or not?
Sorry, what?
Do you believe in the Big Bang Theory?
Sure, yeah, I'm fine with it.
All right, okay. So you said you don't believe in God, yeah?
That's right.
All right. So how and the Big Bang Theory is the correct me if I'm wrong, is the theory that some explosion caused the formation of the universe. Is that right?
I'm not a physicist, but this is the way I understand it. Something like there's an expansion of the universe given
Yeah,
things like, okay, so the universe is expanding. It doesn't say anything about whether there was a first moment of time. It doesn't say anything about whether the natural world is eternal. Okay. But it just is just supposed to show that the universe is expanding and from a point.
All right. And do you believe that the Earth was formed and the humans evolved from monkeys?
I don't think that's how biologists would want to say it. They won't say
Exactly.
that.
Exactly.
They would say
Exactly.
something like, that humans and maybe monkeys share common ancestor, something like that.
All right. So I'm not asking what biologists say. I'm asking what you believe.
Yeah,
Do
I
you
agree with
believe?
biologists. I agree with biologists.
So you believe that we evolved from monkeys, yeah?
No, I don't, because biologists don't think that.
All right. So what was I gonna say? Sorry. So there has to be a maker, yeah? There has to be a
Nope.
maker.
Nope, I don't think so.
How does that work? What do you mean you
I'm
don't
just
think
saying
so?
that there are things that don't that are there are effects whose causes aren't makers or persons, right? Like I don't think that we can ask what caused mountain ranges in North America. We could say plate tectonics. Plate
Wait,
tectonics is
are you from America? Are you from America?
that's true. Yes.
Bro. No, sorry. That's just a bit tight. So I'm not from America, by the way. I'm a British person. That's why I was laughing.
Okay. You're kind of
Yeah.
a weird person.
Me.
I've
I'm a
never
weird
had
person.
I've never had anyone laugh like that when I said I'm an American. Ever. You're the first
Average
person.
American in
You're my
Ohio, bro. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I've had non-Americans just say cool or they don't care, but I've never had that weird laugh as a response to that. But what is your point, man? Just tell me your point.
What was I gonna say? Sorry. I got to the point. Where did I last leave off? I forgot where I was. Now I remember.
Are
Sorry.
you over the age of 18?
Yes, I'm 18.
Okay.
I know my voice isn't as deep, but it's just because I've
it
got a
wasn't
sore
because
throat.
of that. It was just because of TikTok. TikTok has got me on edge with being banned. That's all. It's nothing personal.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
All right. So if you have nothing else to say, I'm going to move on to the next person. All right.
Wait. I wasn't done yet.
Okay. Then tell me what you got.
So, everything has a creator, yeah?
No.
So, no, listen. All right. How do you believe? How was you created? How were you created?
My parents had sex.
Yeah, from your parents, yeah?
Yeah.
So that that sperm and the egg are the creator of you.
Well, that's part of the
because
explanation.
they created you.
That's part of the explanation, sure.
Exactly. So my point is that everything has a creator, yeah? Everything has a creator.
Okay, when you say creator, do you mean person?
No, not a person. Like,
oh, I misunderstood you. Because creator,
No,
I'm thinking designer. Okay, so
creator, designer.
Are you saying that are you asking me if everything is caused?
Sorry, what do you say? I didn't hear what you said.
Are you asking, when you say everything has a creator, you're telling me everything is explained or everything has a cause? Is that what you're saying?
No. But
Well, I don't know what you're saying, man.
Kind
that
of,
is what you're saying? Okay, well, do you think God had a cause?
No.
Okay, so not
God
everything
didn't
has
have
a cause then. Then
he
not everything has a
existed.
creator.
He existed before time, bro. And by the way,
Okay,
this person saying that I need to do some elementary science class.
Look, chat is against, half of chat hates me, half of chat hates you. Just talk to me.
Half of chat hates me, bro. They're supporting me, bro.
Okay, well, I'm just saying that I'm just encouraging you to ignore the chat. Anyways,
all right,
the point is this, that's all I'm trying to do. Anyways, what I'm trying to say to you is that you just said that everything has a creator. Does God have a creator?
No, because God.
Okay, so not everything has a creator. So your principle is false.
Yes, but listen. Oh shit! I forgot what I was gonna say.
All right, I'm done with you.
All right, thanks. Have a nice.
You're welcome. Okay. A Dawa warrior. Let's see what you got. Hey, what do we disagree about?
Oh, hello. Um, what do we disagree on? I would say I'm a Muslim.
All right.
So now you got already backup. I believe Islam to be the true last religion, and I would like to know what your views are about Islam, so that I can learn your main arguments for this live stream that you are putting on.
Yeah, so essentially, I reject any religion that accepts perfect beings. So if you think that God is perfect, it won't make sense to me, because then God, a perfect being, brought about imperfections, and I don't think that makes any sense.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, no problem. So I reject any religion that thinks that God is a perfect being, because that would imply that a perfect being brought about imperfection. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense. And what do you mean with imperfection? In what type of thing?
So we can say something like this: something that's perfect, or a perfect being might be a being that's all powerful, all good, and all knowing, or a perfect state, something that is perfect, ought not to change. There should be nothing different about it.
Okay, so are you now talking about objects, or you talking now about biological change with humans?
I'm trying to connect your question with what I said. I'm just saying that something is perfect, it should not change. If it's fine the way it is, something like that. And a perfect being like God is going to be a being that has the omni properties. At least classically speaking, God is all powerful, all good, and all knowing. Right? Because you asked me what I mean by perfection.
Okay, so you're trying to say that since God is all perfect and all this and all that, it changed.
That's the first problem, right? The first problem is that if it's truly a perfect being, there'd be no reason to create. That's the first problem. But if we could make sense of that, then it chose to bring about imperfection. And so that doesn't make any sense to me, because a perfect being will not change everything for the worse. For worse.
And what kind of worse are you talking about?
Well, all of the Abrahamic traditions think that stuff like, certain sexual immoralities, lying, stealing are things that ought not to occur. They're imperfections. So stuff like that, right? So basically, I'm understanding imperfection in terms of what God wants, or what God wants to occur.
But isn't that because one of God's attributes is that he is all good and, all knowing, all powerful, and he is the truth? Because in Islam, God has 99 names who are also his attributes, and one of his attributes are the truth. So when God says something, doesn't that just make it objectively, and we just have to follow it instead of talking about each other with our subjective opinions?
I'm not so sure. Okay, I understand the point you're making, but I don't see how it connects to what I'm saying. What you're saying is that should our concerns just simply be that if there's a God, we should just obey him and forget about what we think should occur, right? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Okay, but that doesn't matter. You're okay, fine. Okay, sure. But the point
No,
is
it's okay.
No, I'm saying fine. I don't have a problem with that. That's not my problem. The problem is that God believes that there are things that occur that should not occur. It doesn't matter what I think, right? The whole problem I'm posing is an internal critique. I'm analyzing, look, within the context of, the Abrahamic traditions, right? And within the context of Abrahamic traditions, God thinks that there's evil shit, right?
Well, I would say that due to the wrong choices of some people.
Yeah, but if God didn't create people, there would be no wrong choices.
Yeah, but we also believe that God is all just and he created people with free will. That's why we believe that humans are at a higher level than angels, because we have the right to do wrong and good, while the angels are just based robots.
Are you saying that if something can't do evil, it's a robot?
No, I'm not saying that, but my point is free will. We Muslims believe God created human with free will to do either right or wrong. We
Okay,
believe
so
angels.
does having free will mean that you can do right or wrong?
In Islamic context, free will means to do right or wrong. That's
Okay.
the definition.
Does God have free will?
God has his own will, because we believe,
But that's not my question. That's not my question. I didn't ask if God has his own will. I'm asking if God has free will.
Free will is something that is an attribution of humans, and we cannot apply that to God,
So
because
God
God
doesn't
is
have free
something
will.
else.
So God doesn't have free will.
What's your point?
That God doesn't have free will.
But we cannot say that, since it's a human attribute.
Okay, fine. That means that God does not have free will. We have something that God does not have.
But if you think about it that way, because then it's so there are some things that okay, just because we have something that God doesn't have doesn't make us more greater than God, because God functions differently than we do. We have our own properties.
Okay, I'm okay with that. The point is this: that you can be a person or a being that doesn't have free will and only does the good, and that's not going to be a problem. Okay, but God chose to give us this thing that you're saying, you call it free will, that allows for imperfections in the system that he created, and that doesn't seem rational for a being that wants perfection. That's what I'm trying. In other words, if you're something perfect, right, then you want perfect systems. And so you're not going to introduce things into the system that allow for imperfection. And if you do, you're going against your own goals. And that's that's the problem that I see with your view.
Okay. So what you're trying to say is that since God is all good, why would he create free will that allows people to do evil?
Right, when he can just create us in a way where we're more like him, in the sense that we only do the good. We only do perfect things.
Okay, I understand your position. So we Muslims in Islam, we believe that this life is a test, and we have to strive to get to heaven. So that's why we believe God created good and evil for us to come back to him, because if there is no evil, then there's no point for him putting us on earth. He put us on earth with a purpose to worship him and to, strive and struggle to get to heaven, because we believe this life is a test. It's like an exam. At the end, when you die and it's day of judgment, we get our results. It's a book that we get either on our right hand or left hand.
So I've heard a lot of Muslim. This is a lot of Muslims tell me this: life is a test, creation is a test. What is God testing for exactly?
So we believe that God made. So the Quran says God created us with one purpose, and that is to worship him alone. That's it. Okay, that's the purpose that the Quran tells us. Okay, so the reason why God is testing us, because it's the same thing that happened with Adam, because we believe in the Adam and Eve story too, like Christians, but only their view is very different. They believe God created man in his own image, and I don't know about that something. So in Islam, we believe that God created us with a purpose to worship him.
Yeah, but this is not what my question. Look, like if I'm a teacher and I give a test to a student, it's because I don't know if they know the material. But if I know they know the material, if I know all of my students know the material, and there's no reason to give a test, right? So the notion of a test is only instituted when we don't know what an outcome is or what a certain state is. We test for things in order to gain knowledge. So when you say life is a test or that something that God tests for something, I just don't get it because God knows everything already.
Okay, I understand your point. So we believe God knows everything. He knows the future. He knows whether I go to hell or heaven. Now, the the fact is, we as humans, we have limited knowledge, and we do not know about that. So the test is actually not for God to know, but for us.
For us to know?
So, okay. Let me just try to explain it till the end, and then you can ask the question.
Okay.
So we believe God is testing us, okay? So that after we die, we get our record whether we go to heaven or to hell. God already knows it, but we do not know it. Because if I would be in the stomach of my mom, and then God would take me out of the stomach and throw me in hellfire, that will be unjust for me, even though he knows the future, even though he knows maybe I am Hitler and I'm gonna do some corruption. I do not know it. So I have to go through the trial so that I can eventually get the results.
I still don't know what God is testing for. Is God testing us? Is God testing us?
So we as Muslims believe that God is testing our whole life, every second, every moment.
What's he testing for? What is he testing for?
For us to get our results, whether we go to heaven or hell.
Okay, I don't understand. Anyways, I appreciate your request. I'm getting a little burnt out on TikTok, so
okay, maybe next time we can also talk about other things, because I've seen you talk about atheism, evolution, morality. I would also like to talk about those things.
Sure. Yeah.
It was really great talking to you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I appreciate you. At least it seemed like you were trying to understand me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I tried to understand you. You had great questions.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye. Okay, guys. Here's what I'm gonna do. I have a link to my YouTube channel on my profile. I'm live there right now. I'm gonna open the room up on my YouTube channel to where anyone can join. Okay, so you don't need 1,000 followers. You don't need some fancy login. I think you might need a Google account, but who doesn't have a Google account? And I might allow more people in. Maybe other atheists can talk to other theists. I'll be like hosting, and you can ask me questions, or you can whatever you want to do. It's going to be an open mic, in other words, right? And I think I can allow up to 10 people. So on TikTok, I only allow 6. And so I'll see y'all over there. Go to my profile. The link is there. If you can't find the link, it's just Danny Phil Talk. You can find it on YouTube. All right. Thanks for being on here, guys. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow me. I'll see y'all on YouTube. All right. All right. 100 of y'all already. Wow. Okay. I'm going to put the link up. And anyone can join. And we can have a cool open mic. Just let me get the invite. The link will be pinned over here. Okay, so there is the link. Did I just grow sideburns before stream? It cuts off a lot of my hair, the green screen. All right. All right, the link is there. Okay, let me get the make sure I pin it. Wow, we got 153 people in here. Nice. Okay, so the link is pinned. The link is in chat, but I'm trying to pin it right now, and then we can continue the party. Hey, Robert, what's up? Okay, let me pin this. Pin message. Okay, It is now officially pinned. All right. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hello?
Hey, all right. Are y'all all theist?
No. No, I'm Muslim.
Oh, you're Muslim? Oh, but a Muslim is a theist, right? So you
Oh, yeah,
believe in God.
you said atheist.
All right. Oh, I didn't mean to say atheist. You have to connect your stuff. Wow, there's a lot of people in here. Okay.
Yo, Danny.
Yeah, what's up, Adam?
Can you explain to me why you don't think that Islam is not true?
Well, I mostly believe that because I think theism is not true. And since Islam assumes theism, then Islam is going to be.
Excuse me, what does Islam do to atheism?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What does Islam do to atheism?
What did Islam do to atheism?
No, you said like something with Islam and atheism. I didn't hear you correctly. Can you repeat it again, please?
Oh, yeah. So I think theism is false. Okay. So
Mhm.
theism is just God, God exists. Someone that believes that God exists is a theist, right?
All
And
right.
so if that's false, then Christianity is false, Islam is false, Mormonism is
Why
false.
do you... Okay, I see your point, but why do you think theism is false?
Because I understand a traditional sense of theism. That's just going to be a sense of theism where God is perfect. He's all powerful, all good, and all knowing. I'm adding these people. Sorry, guys. Okay. He's perfect, all knowing, all this stuff. And
Hello?
hey, guys, we'll just try to talk one at a time. I do kick people if you're like talking over each other. So just care. But yeah, I lost my train. Oh, yeah. So God is perfect. And I just don't think it makes sense for a perfect being to bring about imperfections.
Oh yes. Well, let me educate you about that. So the other guy said that God created perfect beings. That is not true. God did not create perfect beings, because if everyone was perfect, and let's just say everyone has different hairstyles, hair colors, then no one will be perfect, because they would only see one kind of person as perfect, and so as that, no one will be perfect anymore, and God's plan would have failed. So that could already not be true.
Yeah, I think. Are you talking about when he said that like the initial state of creation was perfect? Is that what you're talking about?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, but I think the question is whether creation as a whole is perfect.
And what does that mean exactly?
So is everything about creation, is creation period, like all of creation, perfect?
No. God created everything except itself.
Yeah. So okay, before we move on, I want to just kind of get through some of these people. Zira, do you believe in God?
No, I mean I know God's rule.
Okay. Ishmael, did I talk to you?
No.
No. Okay. Are you over the age of 18?
Yes.
I'm not convinced. Bro, or do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a lot of people that believe in God. Cool. Okay. Mystic, do you believe in God?
Yeah, bro.
Okay. And Harris, are you? Is it Hussein? Or I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay. And Gemma, are you here?
Yes.
Okay. Are you over the age of 18?
Yes.
Okay. Or do you believe
Good
in
day,
God?
Cobber. Yep.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay. And Rion?
Yep. Good
Okay,
day,
so
mate.
wow, no atheist in here?
No, mate. No.
I'm all alone. Okay. So how many of y'all are Muslims?
I am.
MashaAllah, my brother.
I'm a Christian.
You're a Christian?
I'm a
Yes.
Christian.
Yeah.
You know, I'm tempted to get the Christians and the Muslims to fight each other, but
No.
No, we don't do that. We respect each other.
oh,
Exactly.
okay. Anyways, I'm fine with it's an open conversation, so it doesn't all have to be about interacting with me, but
Oh yeah.
I guess could I start?
yeah.
Okay, cool. So I see like a lot of the time when you're like presenting these questions to like especially like Muslims when they come on the stream, especially is like totality and creation like perfect. I don't know if you can like is even asking a question like that something you can use to build like a logical argument, because from my point of view, it's like So as Muslims, we believe that Allah has 99 attributes, like he's the most just, he's the most this, he's the most merciful, all these other things, right? And so a lot of the times you say, there was one guy, he was talking about, oh, human, like, I think the interpretation came out that humans are perfect and he created everything. So how can we have like gay sex, for example, stuff like that? Well, with that being said, it's like humans, like anything from the point of view that scholars say we should understand it, and from when we read it, it's he created everything perfectly. But like me, my body, like human, like what choice I make, there's two types of wills in Islam. There's legislative will and there's universal will. Legislative will is basically stuff like, oh, do I decide to steal? Do I decide to do this? Do I decide to do that? Things that you might think, or in a religion it says you might get sins for. Whereas universal will is like, oh, like God decreed this calamity will happen, this earthquake will happen, this will happen, like I created this is like by me. And so the point I'm trying to make is perfect, like there's no human that can determine what, if God exists, like if we're making that assumption, there's no human that can say like what's perfect and what's not perfect, because it's like we don't know what perfect is. Only a perfect being would know what perfect is. Perfect is relative for us. Like I think a perfect human being or success or all these concepts or attributes that might fit like a language make sense for us. Oh, you have free will, you don't have free will. But if we're talking about a multidimensional being, someone that can ideally manipulate space, time, be on, like do anything, because that's what it would mean to be like God, is you're a multidimensional being. You just can do anything. Then
Right.
we won't even be able to approach our comprehension. So just asking, like, are we perfect? I'm not going to know if I'm perfect. You can't, like, how can we for ourselves decide if something is perfect? I guess.
Yeah,
That's,
so let me agree with you to some extent. My argument is not framed in terms of what I think should occur. Okay, so I think that there are a lot of things that shouldn't occur, like a lot of illnesses and genetic disorders, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm not saying because I think those things shouldn't occur, therefore God is not. There's a problem with God. The problem becomes is when you think that God believes that they're imperfections. Okay.
So I think your reasoning for that when I was watching the stream, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I know like with this is my first ever time like going on.
Oh, but first ever time, and then you cut off.
Yeah.
On some imperfections in a system, basically.
Harris, you cut off for like 3 seconds.
Okay. Why would a perfectionist want imperfections in their system?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, from our reason, when you mentioned the whole thing of like, oh, is a tester going to test you? It's to gain knowledge. That's just something like we arbitrarily determined. We don't know technically why a tester is testing us. Like he's not going to be like a human tester. The closest concept we can use to describe what we're going through would be like a test. But we're not going to be able to comprehend what he gains out of it, what he would gain out of it emotionally, or like emotion isn't even like a concept at that point when you're that high up. I don't know if my what I'm trying to convey is making sense, but for us to say why would a perfectionist want imperfections in their system, well, who are we to say these things are imperfections in the first place?
Okay, so there are 2 points floating around. There's like the whole like, how can we say there's imperfections?
Yeah.
And then there's what it means for God to test us.
Yeah.
So the point is that there's a certain sense of, in terms of the testing, like if I say that that some person is testing another person, usually there's an element of they want to discover something. Now that can't be true because God doesn't discover anything. He knows all, right?
Yeah.
So what does he even mean in the first place for God to test you?
Hold on, can I step in here for a second?
Yeah,
sure.
God's original purpose for us, we were originally perfect humans. Adam and Eve were perfect humans until they ate the fruit in the garden. So saying that he wanted to test us is not valid. But what happened was when they ate the fruit, we became imperfect also. That came passed down to us as human beings. And I'm sure you guys know that too. But the fact that we're being tested, I don't think that's the answer. But at a certain time, well, you kind of are right. He is going to test us at a certain point to see whether or not we can make it into paradise. Or you guys believe in heaven. We don't believe in paradise. But So what do you think about humans? Like, I'm kind of like confused about your question. What are you confused about?
Are you talking to me or to Danny?
No, Danny.
You're muted, Danny.
Danny, you're muted.
I'm muted. Sorry, I was muted. What? Yeah, my question was. Sorry, I'm trying to switch computers. My question was, what does it mean for God to be testing someone? What does that mean?
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say is which is not going to be a satisfying answer for anyone, because if there was,
Okay, so you don't think there's a good answer to the question? Is that what you're saying?
What I was going to say to your question is, why is he testing us? I'm saying that we can't. Two answers.
But that's not my question. My question isn't why is God testing us. My question is, what does it mean for God to test something?
So, from our belief, it's that any hardship, tribulations, trials, anything that we go through in our life, like there's obviously a concept of like purification or like morality in like religions, or each religion, depending on what you're talking about or who you're talking to. That's like basically decreeing or specifying like goodwill, goodness, purity, etc. So through our trials and tribulations, that's kind of to bring out those aspects of ourselves, I guess, is the answer to what we're being like. Sorry, I know you phrased your question like 3 times, but I know that's the answer I'm giving to your question.
So what it means for God to test us is to do things to express our character.
Put us in situations where we have to make choices.
I still hear you. I just gotta turn on my light here.
Yeah, but place us in situations where we have to make like those choices.
Well, okay, but then that's gonna be then that just means that like when God, I mean, like everything is gonna be a test.
Yeah.
Right. Literally everything. Like eating breakfast is a test because God lets you make a choice between Lucky Charms and, Cocoa Puffs. I mean, like, I think that's
what.
Like, I need to switch computers. In order to do this, I need to kick someone out temporarily. Who's willing to be kicked out for a second?
Oh my God.
Anybody? Before I select a random person.
I'll do it.
Okay, who's that? Hive? Okay, Hive, I'll let you back in, but I'm going to kick you, and then I'm going to have to join on my other computer. So, all right. Because I don't want to do this on my laptop. Okay.
Hive it up.
Okay. This isn't. There are 2 me's now.
And robots. You know your thing.
Oh yeah, Danny, if I could, can I just ask why you are an atheist?
I think he left.
The echo. Oh my God.
I don't think he's here.
My bad. So what do you guys think about like Judgment Day? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Kind of scary.
Yeah, I don't think the point of religion is to understand it. It's more about just having faith.
Who's speaking?
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yup.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry. I just had to get on my desktop and fix my camera and everything. Okay. But okay. This should work. I don't like, this is a better microphone. It should be at least. All right. So yeah, I just like, if you're defining tests that way, then literally every second you make a choice is a test. And that's not how most people use the word.
Yeah.
Yo, can I just say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Danny, you said on like your TikTok, you said even though I'm a Muslim, you said Christianity is fake, but then you were saying that Jesus is transgender. I mean, if Christianity is fake, then how is Jesus?
Jesus, I don't believe Jesus is transgender. I think it's only if you think Jesus is God that he's transgender in the sense that I outlined, and that Jesus is changing his gender identity when he becomes a man.
Do people think that Jesus is God? Does someone here think that Jesus is God?
There's probably a Christian here. Gemma, are you a Christian?
Yeah, there is.
Muse.
Oh yeah, I'm a Catholic, and Jesus for me is definitely God.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Maybe you could talk, Kareem and Adam. Y'all should debate about whether Jesus is God or not. Because I'm.
Wait, can I just say something?
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. I might be wrong in this. I'm not sure if this is correct, but if I'm correct, the original Bible was in the Aramaic language.
Correct.
It was translated into Latin, which was then translated into other languages. There must have been something that might have been like missing, or something that might have been mistranslated. Because
Yeah, I
what I
think so
believe
too.
is Jesus isn't God, and I more so believe that he was a normal man, like anyone else. You know, and in the same time, he was judged by God. And the reason I believe he wasn't like God himself is because, like, you're saying to me he's God, yet he's the Son of God. It doesn't really make that much sense. How can he be two people in one time?
Yeah, the point of religion is not to try to understand; it's just to have faith.
Yeah, but
God exists in the
wait.
Trinity,
In his
the Father, the
every
Son, and the Holy
religion,
Spirit.
every
Jesus was
religion
God.
basically tries to make you understand it. Even in Islam, the point of believing Islam, you have to understand it in the first place. You can't just be in a religion without understanding it.
No, but
That's what we do in Islam. We don't just
it's a
believe
divine
religion
power.
without
It's not
understanding
to
it.
have
We need
complete
to understand it
understanding. The
first.
point of religion is faith. Is to have faith. Is to believe.
Yeah, but the Bible clearly
Part
says
of being in a religion is having faith, yes. But in the other side, you have to understand it. You cannot just be part of a religion without understanding it.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
think
not
about it.
necessarily to make
In the
complete
Bible that
sense of everything.
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Look,
Guys, I'm
in
trying to let
Islam,
someone in. Haven, you can come in since I think you just subscribed. So try to come in and I'll let you. I don't know. I'm sorry for those that I'm kicking. I'm just trying to let Haven in because she just subbed. Hassam, you can come in later. I'm gonna try to rotate people. Okay.
Yeah, but
All
the
right,
Bible
sorry.
says that Jesus was sent by someone. So how could he was sent by the Father? So how could Jesus be sent by the Father if he so called is God himself? How would he be able to send himself?
What?
I think this I feel like the whole argument between Jesus being like faith, like placing faith, I feel like this is just going to keep going like back and forth because both like sides. I mean, the first thing is like you have to put faith in any religion, but I think what the other side is trying to also say is that depending on what you're reading and your religion and the sources you take in, that's what makes you decide to place your faith in that religion in the first place. So I feel like they're both kind of saying the same thing.
Right.
Like obviously as Muslims, we don't believe in Jesus being God or the Trinity specifically. So we have like other things in the Quran and our sources and whatnot, which the Quran encourages us to try to challenge it, try to reproduce a part of it, try to debunk parts of it. That's something that like, a lot of people actively do. And that usually increases faith more than most people or most Muslims. So that I know at least. But yeah, in the other way, you're going to be thinking like as a Christian, when you read your stuff, like it's going to reaffirm what you think, or maybe you don't read it. But I think what he's trying to say is you don't have to
God, I made it. Yes, finally.
I have a question. Isn't Jesus a prophet in Islam?
Yes.
So you do believe in Jesus, but not
but not as God. Yeah.
He wasn't a god though. He was a prophet.
We don't believe in the Trinity.
Danny, I have
Yes,
a
we do.
question for you, if I may.
Yeah, and before you ask, Haven, thanks for coming on. You just subbed to the channel, so I appreciate it. After this question, I'm going to let you speak because you gave me money. So, all right, but go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah. Okay. So I was just wondering why are you an atheist?
I mean, there are a lot of reasons, but I mean, one. Thanks for the super sticker, Cloud. One of the main reasons is what I just gave you. I think it's hard to understand why a perfect being would create, especially create something that he thinks is going to be imperfect. And that understanding God's desires is going to be difficult too, because God always gets what he wants because he's infallible. That's hard for me to understand. There are a few other things, but those are two big problems for me. But I wanted you to reply, but I want to let Haven speak because she's just subbed. So Haven, what's up?
Let me speak.
You're muted. Haven, you're muted. You're muted, Haven.
Sorry. Thank you for letting me on. I just appreciate you taking so much time to have these conversations. So I believe in God. I was, I would say I was kind of raised Christian early on by just friends, not in my own home. My own home was very dysfunctional, and so going out to church was kind of a retreat for me. But I never really was, like, I would say, truly a believer until later on in my life. I became a Christian when I was 28 in 2014, and I guess I just want to engage in the idea of, like, if you reject God, and then you're rejecting that, like, that there was a beginning, like someone said, you know, you said there was not a moment before the first moment, right?
Right.
Okay, so if you believe that, then it will be very hard for you to accept that there is anything eternal. And I feel like as
Well,
humans,
the good news is I don't believe that. I think the person I was talking to, I was granting it for sake of argument, because a lot of people think there's like a beginning of space-time. That would imply a first moment. I actually don't know, but I actually lean towards there being an infinite series of moments. So there's no first moment.
So
Yeah, what some people think is that the Big Bang was the end of a previous universe and it was reborn as another universe. Some people think it's the infinite cycle, and there was never any first moment. It's just repetitive.
Right, that's one model. But Haven, I truly don't know. And guys, when I mute you, it's not personal. It's just because there's a lot of background noise. I can hear myself sometimes. I don't know. Just watch your mic. Try to stay muted when you're not talking, preferably. But yeah, Haven. So I'm okay with you thinking that there's an infinite series of moments. God existed prior to creation, and in all moments prior, and then after that moment in which He created, then the universe exists. I don't think that makes that's okay. Like logically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like so I feel like your main question is, or your main problem is, God cannot exist with evil, right?
That's one of my main problems.
And so right there, you are putting your own parameter on a God, okay? An infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing being cannot be compatible, is incompatible with anything else. That doesn't really make any sense to me. Okay. Also, if God is real, which of course I believe, why wouldn't there be an opposition? There's opposition to everything. And like why would you create anything that would be in opposition to you? I would say that it says in the Bible that God created because He wanted to. Just like I wanted to have kids, even though I was scared and I knew that I was going to be disappointed, and I knew that tests, trials, tribulations, and hard things are coming. I wanted to have children because I have a desire, a love. Now, I'm a human. I'm human. God is not. And so no one's going to be able to tell you God did this because. Okay, we have faith and we trust in His goodness and purity and righteousness. Yes, we question Him. Yes, we argue. I personally, God, why? What's happening? Why are you allowing this? Okay, and many people do that in the Bible. It's not like evil or bad or wrong to question God or have conversations with God. He loves us. He wants us to engage with Him. He created us. My guess, if I had to give you an answer, is He created us out of desire, out of love, out of pure goodness, just wanting, not even wanting.
Mm-hmm.
Also, God is like a non-binary, if I can say that. He does not have a gender. The reason He is as He and Him in the Bible is because Jews, or Moses, they didn't have any other terms, and so that's just like a translation that we have. But God does not have a gender, and neither did Jesus.
You don't think that God? Do you think the Old Testament? Do you think the Old Testament writers thought of God as masculine?
I think that they didn't know. No, I think maybe that was their first instinct.
I actually disagree on that.
Can I interject here?
But I don't think they know. I think that the Bible believes that God is non-binary. He does not have a
And
gender.
in
He's
the
not a
Bible,
human, like a male or a female.
sorry,
They
in the
say
Bible,
we were made
they
in God's image,
Yes,
and
image, but
the
we are
first
not
thing He created was a man,
right.
Adam.
Mm-hmm. Yes, in his image, but that does not mean. But still, Adam is still a human. Let us make him like us.
God is a spirit.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that does not mean a gender necessarily.
Do you think
And it
gender and
says,
sex are different?
Can I just cut you guys off? I do think that they might have like it's not that they wouldn't have known what gender God would have been. I don't think it'd be like that. Because if you think about it, if a prophet is talking to a god, a higher being, then in a way there's gonna be some stuff that we won't know about, that like conversations that the
yeah,
prophet might
yeah,
have had with a god. So
yes,
yes, as you did say, maybe
I
they might
agree.
have had a preview on God being like a
Yeah,
masculine figure,
that's
but
true.
I don't think that they would have thought of him as not having a not having a gender or something.
Or
Because
at that
I
time
think they
cared
put one on
either.
it because they how else are they going to talk about him? You know, you just say it.
I
You
think
know,
the reason
maybe
you would have been saying that God, like they might have not known what gender God had, is because of like the Old Testament, how they don't really refer to him having a gender. But if you think about it, the Old Testament, it's more like from, I think, the Torah, the Judaic books. Point is, like, I think that more so it was that the like they didn't have that, they wouldn't be fed that much information straight away. If God is trying to get his people to believe in him, you're not gonna just dump a lot of information. It goes with a baby as well. You're not gonna teach a baby algebra, like I don't know, like second level algebra or something that a baby can't understand. You're gonna teach it its ABCs, its I don't know, addition or something. Not addition, like 1 to 10. You know, you're not gonna feed it all the way straight away with lots of information that it has no idea about. So one of the things is, I don't think they would really try to include any gender for him at first. Maybe they don't.
right.
They do include it in like the Second Testament. They
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit more about it. I'm not
Yeah,
Christian. I don't know about this, but
yeah,
if something like that, you know, it wouldn't make sense that they would give the information straight away. Lots of that, they would have to give it by levels. And this is so far
true.
what I think, in
That's
my
possible.
opinion. In my opinion, the Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christian, and Islam, they're all like levels. You know, Judaism, a bit like a preschool, elementary, or primary, or something like that. Then you have Christianity, which comes next. It carries on, Second Testament, and it carries like a bit like a high school or a secondary school. And then last being the university, which is Islam, because it does talk a lot about information that includes science. It includes, I'll give you an example. In the Quran, it talks about like how long it takes for a baby to be born, 9 months. That's just one example. Another example, it talks about atoms. And I mean like a proper atom. An
We're getting
example is
a little bit rambly. I guess Haven, you mentioned evil, you mentioned gender. I'm fine with saying that God is genderless. Okay, I don't. If you just want to say that the language, the pronouns that are used for God are not literally true, they're just substitutes for referring to that entity. I'm not going to have a problem with that. But still, God, including Jesus, knows what gender is. Right. And
Yes.
after all, he created it. Okay?
Yes, he did create male and female.
And then decides to either, in your case, he distances himself from it. Right. So on your view. Right. So the point is that you still go from a genderless category to a gendered category. And the gender identity changes from I don't have a gender to now I have a gender. And humans do this. There are humans that do this. Right. There are humans out there that are non-binary, say, I'm not either one. I'm not any of these categories. And then they sometimes change their minds, or they pick a category, and there's a sense in which they're transitioning. So I hope that's a response to your second point. Your first point about evil. There are different types of the problem of evil. There are categories of the problem of evil, but the logical problem is a little bit less. It's not as convincing to a lot of people. But the evidential problem of evil, it sort of assumes our sense of right and wrong to be more or less reliable. So I want to ask you, do you think that our sense of right and wrong, especially when it comes to things like natural disasters, illnesses, genocides, wars. And by the way, guys, we're on YouTube. We can use the word kill. So like YouTube doesn't ban for these words. So you can be a little bit more free. But yeah, do you think our sense of right or wrong is reliable? And Zaramura, your devices are not connected. I don't want you to, if your devices are not connected, I can't accept you because of how StreamYard is. So I'm just going to keep on kicking you until you get your devices connected. All right, Haven, what did you want to say to that?
That's very, I would say, is our perception.
Yeah, our moral perceptions.
Our moral
are they
perceptions.
reliable?
I would say our moral perceptions are reliable. I would say that.
And
yeah.
so
I would say yes.
Okay.
I've had to think about it. Yes, because
tentative
we
yes.
are created in God's image.
Right, tentative yes. So I'm fine with you retracting the claim. It doesn't really matter to me. But the point is that if your sense of right or wrong is reliable, then when you look at something like a genocide and you say, well, there's no reason for that. That's unnecessary, right?
But the thing is, where did a genocide happen? It's not God who started it. I mean, in the Quran, it talks about God giving us a brain. We make the right and wrong choices. Who started the genocide? It was humans.
Yeah, but I'm not contesting that. The point is,
okay, so here's the thing. God says that he has given us a mind, okay? And we can see with our eyes, and we can say, yes, we can say that's terrible, that's sad, that, that's whatever we're looking at is going to evoke emotion, of course.
Yeah, and so now the question is, okay, so we see something like a genocide and we think that it's evil, but not only do we think it's evil, there's an added layer to this. We think it's unnecessary evil, right? It didn't have to happen, right? And so what the response is from theists is that they say that, well, God actually has a good reason for it. We just are not privy to it. And what that does is undermine our sense of right or wrong. It undermines our moral perception. And that's the problem.
I don't think it undermines our. I don't think it does. I think it just gives you a different perspective of what you're looking at.
Okay, I'm a little confused. So, like, there's a lot of stuff out there. Let's just take, I've been using genocides, but illnesses are probably a better example. There's tons of people dying from all these illnesses prematurely, like before age 40, right? Millions and millions and millions of people. Now, what I want to say is, if my sense of right and wrong is reliable, okay, then I want to say that's unnecessary illness, unnecessary suffering.
Can I just cut you off on that about the unnecessary illness?
Well,
look, I'll give you an example of me. I suffer from a rare condition. It affects my muscles. It's called non-dystrophic myotonia. Now, if I don't take care of myself, I can easily I can become paralyzed because it would stiffen the muscles. The thing is, this disease, you'd say, yeah, that's something bad. Why did God give me this? I shouldn't be given this, it's unfair. But without this, I don't think I'd be able to push myself to actually go start exercising or start eating healthy.
But the point is that it's still unnecessary because God could use God. Wait, let me finish. It's still unnecessary in the sense that God can use anything to get you to that end goal, right? He's powerful enough, right? It would be like this. Imagine getting a vaccine and the size of the needle, might matter. And usually you don't have to have a big needle to get the COVID vaccine. Okay. But if someone used a large needle, it's still going to be true that, that was useful insofar as administering the vaccine, but the size of the needle is unnecessary. You could use less pain, less of a smaller needle to get the same result. And all I'm saying is that end that you're saying that your disease contributes to could be brought about by something less painful, less horrible, and given that God's omnipotent and He knows how to do that.
I wish it was like that, but then sometimes there's like no way.
Unfortunately,
for that.
more
If there's no
complicated.
vaccine for me or something like that. If there's no cure, think about it. Like, again, it goes back to us having a brain. We could easily try and figure out a way to cure the disease. If we use our brain. And
but do you
people
understand
already do this.
The point
People
is
do.
That is God powerful enough to use any kind of means to
He
bring
is.
about
He
the end
does
that
it.
you're talking
Why?
about.
How?
Yes,
Look, I'll
and
give
he
you an
did.
example.
He did use
already
the
does
most
it. This is
powerful
how
means.
he already gives us the knowledge on how to cure it. We just need to find that knowledge. What I mean, basically, if we have a disease, say someone has cancer, there's scientists who are trying to find the cure for it, right? So that in a way, they're kind of just finding that
Well,
cure, and it
I
would
wanted to stick to one example at a time. Your example, you have a disease and you're saying it brings about an end, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. And I'm just saying, is God powerful enough to use something else to bring about the same end?
Yes.
Okay. So then could he, the means by which he can do that, could it be less painful?
Yes, he could make it less
Okay.
painful, but in the
Can y'all hear
same
me?
time, he gives you a
Then
problem
that
to
establishes. Then
Can y'all hear me?
he gives you
Okay,
always
even
this. You would
Jesus
always get a
asked
problem in
God,
life. You
if
have to
you can
solve
do
that
it
problem.
another way. Even Jesus prayed, please take this from me. Okay, if there was another way, God, if there was another way. No, there was no other way. Okay, because we are like God. Now that we have eaten the fruit and we have the knowledge of good and evil, guess what? We have free will. We can have lots and lots of kids and we can do whatever we want. No, there was no other way to pay for that. There's no other way to pay for that penalty. The only way
So God
for
has
someone to take on everything bad and every single curse. What other way would there be? What
It
other
sounds
means
to
would
me
there
like
be?
you're. It sounds
Can
to
you
me
think
like you're
of another
saying
way?
there's. It sounds to me like you're saying there's something God can't do.
No.
Yes,
No,
you
I'm
said
not
there's
saying
no other
that.
So
way.
what do you mean then?
Danny,
Yeah.
I'm gonna head out. I appreciate
I
everything.
think if there was another way, God would have made that. And He did. He made us a way.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
well,
So
one second,
there
Pro
And
is.
it's a free gift to everyone.
Okay, what Pro Bro, what were you about to leave or something?
Yeah, I'm gonna head out. I appreciate everything.
Yeah, no problem. You take care, man. See ya.
Everything. I might be back here in a month or two.
A month. Okay. Wow, you got that
Damn.
calendar set.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Can I read
Well,
y'all?
Haven, it sounds to me like you're saying that there's no other alternate course of action. And it seems to me that that's limiting the power of God and his ability to achieve his desires.
No.
And therefore, there are desires that he would have that he cannot achieve.
No, He did achieve it. He is achieving it, though. It's not that He hasn't done it. He is carrying out exactly how He has planned. He's doing exactly what He wants.
So the suffering that people experience now is God's desire. God desires that they suffer.
No, I mean think about it. How do
She
people?
just-
Most of the
No,
suffering
God
that you see
doesn't
in this
desire
world
for
either happens from
anyone to
human
suffer,
beings
and
that
that's
either do
why
something that's dangerous. As an example, with wars, it's not God who made that war.
God doesn't want us to suffer, and that's why He is doing what He's doing. That's why He is making a way for us, because we have brought this. We have chosen it. We suffer because of our choices. Okay,
Are
not
you-
because God is like, I think I'm just going to make you suffer a little bit. Here's some
I don't
pain.
think
Here's
that's
some
true.
cancer. Here, you
Are
need
you
to
okay?
try-
Are you okay with me continuing, Danny?
Oh yeah, please. I've been
it's up to
debating
you.
Christians for like 2 hours. I need a break. So
Oh, okay. So it just seems to me that you are just on the face of it limiting God's power. There is something he can't accomplish. He can't stop the suffering that
No, he
people
can't.
currently experience.
What do you mean? What do you mean He can't?
Well, you said that
Because
there
He
was
chooses
no
not to. Because He chooses not to do it does not mean God has made He has His plan and He's carrying
Well,
out
then
His will. Just because He doesn't do what you want doesn't mean He's.
right.
I'm not limiting Him.
Okay. So he's either unwilling or unable.
No, I will. I'm going to read you.
You
this.
just said he was unwilling.
He is doing exactly what has to be done in order for His will, His plan, to be carried through.
Yeah,
That's
and his
it.
plan
Period.
includes suffering.
No, that was a human plan, unfortunately.
How can
We cannot
what
change.
is how can the way things are be at odds with God's desires?
The way things
God
are,
doesn't
be at
have
odds with
desires.
because
Where
we
was the
have
idea of
because we
God doesn't
made our
desire?
choices because He lets us do what we want and live how we want and
No,
be
he
who
doesn't
we
let us
are.
do what we want. God gives us a set of rules that we have to follow, He gives it to us, but if we don't want to, we don't need to listen to it.
Exactly.
It's in our
I'm
choice.
just gonna read this
But
real fast, y'all. Sorry to interrupt you. I have trouble. All right, Second Chronicles 36, verse 15 says, "The Lord, the God of their fathers, sent persistently to them by his messengers, because he had compassion on his people and his dwelling place, but they kept mocking them, mocking the messengers, despising them, and scoffing, until the wrath of the Lord rose up against his people." So it's not like God hasn't
Well, I think
given
we
us
should.
every opportunity
I
to
think
come
we
back
should.
to him, or every opportunity
Right.
to do good, but we have continually rejected him. Like, no, thank you, God. No, I do. I
No,
just
I think we should stick with the evidence, the problem of evil, right? There is evil in the world, and if there is evil in the world, and God always, all God's desires are always actualized, then and part of His plan, then evil is part of God's plan.
but God doesn't have any desires. The idea of desires is
That's
something that was made by humans.
well, that's a pretty non-standard belief.
I mean, think about it. What are desires? Desires are a type of emotions that become a thought. The
That's
process in the brain.
controversial. I don't know if that's true. I mean,
No way, it is. I mean, think about it. Your desire, like say you have a desire to eat a fruit. You're hungry. That's an emotion that you have, right?
no. Look, you can desire world hunger and not feel anything, right?
True.
So
You don't need to have actually emotions as well. That's actually true. But in the same time, desires are something that are made by humans.
Why don't you replace the word desire with will then, right?
yeah. And evil is just like death. It's not like
It's
not like thoughts or
Kareem-
emotions
Kareem
are
and a
evil. That's not how it is. So let's get that straight.
think evil is thoughts.
So Kareem, does it help if you replace the word desire with will, right? Because Christians use the word will a lot. They say decretive will and whatever the other kind of will is, right? So God certainly has a will. And if evil exists, that means his will has been frustrated, right?
I'm not Christian, so I don't know about that.
So, Danny, I'm going to take off
Okay, see you,
because
Brendan.
there's 3 non-believers in here, and I want to make space for other people. Also, I want to make lunch.
Okay, see you, Brendan. Thanks for calling me by.
All right, man.
Yeah.
What's up, man?
Oh, hey, Deepak, what's going on?
You like my name?
Well, yeah, I laughed. It was pretty good. That's an inside joke. But I was on TikTok. I had like 1K viewers. I'm like, fuck this. I want less viewers. So that's my name.
YouTube.
Oh my goodness. But Harris.
No.
Yeah. What's up, Haven?
I was going to say that you know, whenever just that there is, you know, when God, it says, I have to go and read the story about God and the angels, but basically, you know, the evil was the distrust and the doubting of God's plan, goodness, and purpose. You know, there's the story of Lucifer, the angel. He was proud. He wanted to be God. He wanted to call the shots. He wanted to be glorified and worshiped. Okay, so when God creates this garden of Adam and Eve, he's like, here is everything. This is a tree of knowledge of, basically it opened their eyes to death, to sin. And God was like, and God told them, trust me, I have given you everything. And the first thing that the serpent goes immediately and says, God is a liar. Do not believe him. Do not believe him. And we did. And we just continue to do that. So there can exist evil. There can exist evil. And there can also exist good
So I
at
have a
the same
question.
time. Yeah.
Do you think Satan was the first being that had a desire to sin?
That's what I know. That's
Okay.
what I know
Let's roll
from
with
the
that.
Bible is that
Fine,
Lucifer
fine, okay.
was the first like proud, I don't know,
Okay.
was like an angel who hated God and wanted to be God, and so he
Yeah.
so God cast him out. God cast him out of.
Right. So now I'm asking, okay, the first sinful desire, where did that come from? Haven, you're muted. I don't know if you wanted.
So the desire came from him seeing God's glory, and God's, God was being worshipped, and he wanted it. He saw it and he wanted it, and he thought, why not me? Why
So
can't?
the first
Why
sinful
not me?
desire was because of God's
Wait, can I
glory.
just say something? There's something different in the Quran. It says something different about why
I gotta get the Bible.
Satan is like this. In the Quran, it says when God made Adam and Eve, well, technically when he made Adam first, Satan didn't like this because really we don't believe in Satan to be like an angel. He was something else, more like a demon himself. There was some other race, there was another species of creatures that lived before humans. Because think about it, if God is infinite, he would have made things before it, but that's not the point. The point is, Satan, when he saw Adam, he didn't like that, and he felt like he was being betrayed by God. Something
Yeah,
like
but the
that.
original line of question is what explains the first sinful desire?
Hate.
An
Hate is what
emotion,
explains-
yeah, and a feeling, an emotion.
Okay,
that
where
you
did that
have.
feeling come from?
I can tell you, I know.
Being-
What do you mean?
feeling like he's being betrayed.
Bible
From your
says
mind, from your soul. I mean, where feelings
say-
come from?
Can I ask a
Who has
question
the
here?
echo?
What do you mean by the first sinful? Like which one? Which one?
Like the
Which
first
one?
sinful
You mean,
thought?
do you mean the Adam made?
No, more like same Shaitan.
And you're on mute.
No, because
yeah,
then he
it
said
doesn't
the
matter-
first.
It doesn't matter who had it. Here's the problem: is the first desire to sin? There's a question about what explains that. It can't be sin, right? It can't. So it's got to be something that God might have had control over, or it's random.
Not necessarily. Why?
Yeah, I don't get that.
Well, okay, so look like here's one model. Like someone might think that Satan had the first sinful desire, and they want to say because of Satan's pride. Right? Sorry, go ahead.
Before you continue, just wanna say something before that. So we believe, and I'm a Muslim, so we believe in Islam that Satan has the first sin, which is arrogance. Arrogance is the first arrogance. So
Pride.
what happened is when God created Adam, right? Satan said like, why you create? So God created Adam from clay from the earth, right? He
Okay,
created,
so I'm asking.
just one second. Let me just want to explain why he sinned.
Where
Like why
does
he
the
sinned.
where does the
He
arrogance?
created Adam from clay.
Where does the arrogance?
Satan
come
from fire.
Where does the arrogance come from? Is my question.
Wanting to
Because
be like God,
basically,
pride,
everyone, let me just
emotion.
speak. Wait. Look, in the Quran, where it says that this sinful came from is mainly from the fact that Satan, is made out of fire. This is what we believe in. All devils, we believe they're made out of fire. And as well, we believe in the Adam, he was made out of clay.
Well, I'm
And
asking where Satan's arrogance came from.
That's what I'm
that's the
saying. Just
thing.
one second.
That's what
Let
I'm
me-
saying. He was made
Satan
out of fire,
said,
and when Satan
one
thought
second,
that he
brother.
was
Let
made
me
out of
let me
fire, he
finish
thought
the
he was
point.
more special. He
Y'all
thinks
talking
He was like, I am created from fire. Why you create something from clay? Like, what is
Yeah.
this? Because God said, he said to the angels and Satan, like knee for Adam. So the angels need, but Satan, he said, I'm not gonna knee. He obeyed God. He disobeyed God. He said, I'm not gonna knee. Why I knee to something that was created from clay, and I am created from fire. I am better than him.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
God,
but
he
okay,
was
where
so
does-
ar-
that's
so
the
angry.
But that's the arrogance. Where did that attitude come from?
He comes
The
from
arrogance
Satan
came
because he's created
from
of
him.
God. He already God created Satan this way. He
Okay,
can be.
so then Satan
He
is
can be
traced-
whatever.
So then sin is traced back to God.
No,
it's
it
just
cannot.
it's a
Wait,
freedom
you
of
can't.
everyone, can I
choice.
just
It's
speak?
traced back
It's
to
a choice.
your
It's your
choice.
choice.
Yeah, but the point is that
Let
the
me-
choice is inspired by the first act of sin was inspired by a desire to sin, and then I'm asking where that desire came from. Okay,
Look,
and then you're saying that it ultimately comes from God.
Let me tell you
No, that
this.
does not make sense, Danny. Because if I created you, right? If I created you with different features, like one of your features is to disobey me, right? That doesn't make it. But you have the choice
It's not like you're not forced to disobey
But
me.
the whole question is where
One
the
sec-
choice came from. Where did the
let me
desire?
let me clarify this. Let's say I created you with features that one of the features that you disobey me, right? But I already tell you, look, Danny, I created you with this feature that you disobey me, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you disobey me, you're gonna be punished. So you already know you have this feature. You already know. And I already warned you.
What do you think my question is? What do you think my question is?
So you said the sinful thing come from God.
No. I thought that's what you were saying, but you're not. So I'm asking for clarification. The first desire to sin, what explains that? What's the explanans?
Arrogance.
Okay, where did the arrogance come from?
From Satan.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's
so
feature. It's let's say it's a feature in Satan's creation.
Okay. Oh, it's a feature of Satan's creation. So the arrogance was created by God.
No, I mean, think about, isn't
No,
arrogance
that
technically an
doesn't
emotion?
make any sense.
I'll say
You're saying
yes.
you're
Arrogance
saying
created by God.
Guys, he's saying yes.
No.
Yes. Let me clarify. Yes. Because it's not like that. Because the way, like, look, Dan, you're not using your logic. You just want a specific words, some people to say specific words, so that you take it for your argument. But it's not like that. One second.
Let Harris talk. Wait, Hazam, I just want Harris to talk because he's been here for a while. He's been quiet. So let Harris go. All right, go ahead, Harris.
So I like this one because I have learned like how people, I guess, present this line, and I've never talked about this specific topic. So in Islam, like you said, like we have this. We're already at the arrogance part, right? And we're saying that okay, so
There's background noise. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yes.
Is that you, Haven? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Harris.
So like when we're saying that arrogance is like a feature of Satan, and then that Satan is created by God, so then obviously someone can say, oh well, God created Satan, why would he create this? Why would he create like anything like disobeying us in the first place, right? So with that being said, it's kind of like, imagine, I think this is what someone else was trying to already say, but imagine for all purposes and whatever, let's say I was hypothetically like God or could do anything, right? And then I have some creations and perfect creations, and there's a whole array, like a whole variation of creations, humans, jinns, angels, whatever, right? That are talked about in different religious scriptures. And some of them have desires, some of them are objects, some of them have semantics we can't comprehend, some of them do. Like, so when we have, let's say, Satan, right, who's not technically human, but in Islam we believe, okay, so he had arrogance because he's like, why am I going to basically kneel to a human or to these humans in the first place? It's not that God was like, oh, I messed up and now this is someone protesting against me. The whole thing with Satan being able to protest in the first place with our point of view is he's allowing that to happen because this is all part of that system again, that test or whatever. So as far as we know, within that like whole system, our system of like being able to comprehend Satan, being able to comprehend humans, whatnot, this whole testing thing going on, it's like, okay, this is just something he's allowing to happen, because then how else would we have evil and a test and whatnot? We don't need to know the root of like all of that, I guess. I think, yeah, that's just something I wanted to say really quick.
Trying to follow that. So the problem that I'm seeing is that when you look at the first sinful choice, that's inspired by a desire to sin, and then I'm trying to wondering if the desire to sin is explained, and if it's explained by something that God has control over, then there's a level of responsibility that God has.
Okay, so God will not control us or our thoughts. He won't do that. That is not loving. That is controlling and psychotic.
Can I answer the question?
So we have freedom, and he's showing us, look, you can reject me. You can deny me. You can even like try to be like me and pretend you are me. If you can do what you want. He's just showing us like, this is what you've chosen. And all he wants to do is make everyone else love him and think that he is what is good and what is doing right. That's all he's trying to do, is trick us. That's all he does to to Eve is so doubt. Did God really? I mean, and that's what you're doing. It's just.
Can I answer his question?
Can I make a comment on that real quick?
Yeah, Drace, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, because I don't really buy into this whole thing that limiting somebody's free will is despotic and psychotic. Like you see, parents, for example, something that happened in my life was when I was very young. I was like 3 or 4 years old. My parents left me in my father's truck while I was running, and so, being naturally curious, I jumped in the front seat and started playing with the gears. And the truck started going forward, and I almost ran over this lady without even realizing what I was doing. Now, if my parents had come out a little bit earlier, they might have run up and prevented me from doing what I was doing, interrupting my free will to do what I wanted to do, because they realized that the results would be catastrophic. Like I might have killed somebody. And so you don't always allow people to do whatever the hell they want to do. If you are an authority figure, sometimes you step in because you realize that if somebody doesn't understand what they're doing, there could be catastrophic consequences to what they do. And so you curtail their freedom of expression.
I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
You're on mute.
I disagree.
So you guys
I mean,
would allow a child. I'm sorry.
Danny,
You guys
you're
would
on mute.
allow
Danny, you're on mute.
You guys would allow. Okay. You guys would allow a child to run somebody
I agree
over.
with Grace. I agree with Grace and Haven. You were muted.
Yeah, I have an answer. Yes, I do allow my children to play outside, like running free and doing it, and they do get hurt. And I go in and I
that's
swoop
not the
in
question,
as soon
though.
as I see them hurt. But
Guys,
I
you're
don't lock
literally
them in a
using
cage
humans
and stay
with God.
safe and don't
Wait,
get into
wait.
anything. No,
Right, and
they are. So yes, God has boundaries. Certainly, that's why Lucifer and Satan. He is in this, but he's a ruler of this world. This is his place now, and God is above. So yes, we have boundaries. Thank God. We are within boundaries. That's why God is rescuing us through Jesus Christ. Okay. He's not going to prevent us from freedom, but he will provide a way. And that's what he's done.
Is it okay if I just add
I'm sorry. It
something
sounds like you're
to say something?
contradicting yourself there, because at first you're saying that he will not interrupt our free will. He does not do that, and to do that is despotic and psychotic. But then you turn around and say that there are actually boundaries to this free will. And so, like, you can't have it both ways. And yeah, like when you have your child running outside, if you see them doing something dangerous, you agree, you'll stop them from doing that. So why is it the case that God respects Lucifer's free will to wreak all of this havoc all around the universe and do all of these terrible things when, as a parent, you yourself would not allow your child to do such things if they would cause such major damage?
But God gives us a wide variety of
I
free
allow them to
will.
have free
God
will.
doesn't stop us from doing anything. I mean, think about it. Why would God do that? You're allowed to do
Because
anything
of
you
the
want.
terrible
And you-
consequences that
That's why
ensue
we
by
That's the thing.
allowing
We
people to do
experience
That's
that,
why
right?
he loves us and rescues us. That's why he does provide the
So
sacrifice
I
himself.
disagree with it.
Emptied himself out.
Wait,
It's a
that does.
totally
like-
I'm
separate
sorry, but
issue
I don't
about
understand.
providing Jesus as a way to salvation. That's a separate issue from all the pain and suffering that ensues by respecting free will, tout court all the way, no matter what.
It's so that we can choose. Simply that. Well, you can choose to do.
So why don't you allow your child to choose to run somebody over with a truck if they want to?
Choose to. I'm sorry, that I don't understand the question. Why don't I let my child drive a truck? Right. Well,
No,
they
why
can't
don't
drive
you
a
allow
truck.
your
They
child
can't
to
because
run?
well, one, they can't reach the pedals. They don't know how to turn on the car. Okay,
No.
so the child is
No.
very limited and can't even. I couldn't even let my kid if they wanted
The
to.
question was,
Now,
the
if they
question
could
was,
reach,
why do you not allow your child to express any reckless decisions, such as the situation that I gave, where I was playing with the gears and could have run a woman over, would you allow a child to express themselves that way? Would you say, oh, well, I respect my child's free will, I'm going to let them
He's a
run this
child,
lady
man.
over
What are
with
you
the
talking
truck?
about?
Drace,
Okay, I'm not gonna let my
Drace, wait,
child-
everyone stop. Just stop. Drace, you're talking about a child running running over a person with a truck.
Yeah,
point is
At the same
invalid.
time,
and
you're
doesn't
basically trying to say as an example
and
that
aren't those examples of evil that occur in the world every single day? People are murdered, people are raped,
How is that
entire
related to a
nations are
child?
who does that though? It's not God who's doing that.
And, and the same thing because God
That's
is
not the
our
thing.
Father
You're
according to your
misunderstanding it
theology.
completely.
There's an
Drace,
analogy
let me
here
just
with
speak.
us as
Let me
his
speak.
children.
Let me
Corinne,
speak.
you're interrupting
Go
a
ahead.
lot, man. You
Okay,
interrupt
okay,
Haven
sorry about
and
that.
Drace all the time. You got to be careful with interruptions.
I was
Okay, sorry about
interrupted in the first place by Haven and Drace.
Can I just explain something very quick?
Nice.
God, when he created humans, or Satan, for example, he created them, as I said, with features, like for example, with array of features, right? We have extreme, we have let's say left and right, right? Extreme left, extreme right. We have something in the middle. So we have like, so God created us with envy, hate, whatever other like bad, negative things that we have, or like as a human being, right? And he also he created love, respect, and other the opposite, right? At the same time, he gave us free will, so we have both sides, the negative and the positive, and we have free will, and we can choose either we go this way or we go this way. So that's the point. So back to the perfect, the claim that the universe is imperfect because there is evil. No, it's perfect in terms of God created it.
I think
One second, Dan, just let me finish.
You're changing the subject though. And
No. I just wanna connect it to the imperfect.
Osam, are
because
you
I
talking about free will?
Yes. Just wanna. Right. But I just wanna. It's just one point.
Is
I'm
it
saying
about free will?
Yeah, still free will. So God created the universe or the world we live in a perfect position or a manner or whatever, right? It's perfect. And that's he wanted it. He want perfect in terms of it has the good side and the bad side. It's perfect in this manner.
Yeah, but this
That's
is not
perfect.
about. Look, we're not getting Drace's point. I think Drace's point is this: that we all the time restrict people's freedom, and it's good, right? All the time. We put people in prison for, in many cases, it's justified. We restrict our children's actions. We have laws that restrict our options. Okay,
human laws. Okay,
and the point is that there's no problem, and so for just to say that, well, God doesn't want to inhibit our free will, period. Like inhibiting free will is like the all be all like worst thing that God can do, given that he does, that's what Drace is pushing against. It's obvious that sometimes you want to take away someone's freedom of choice, right? We do it all the time.
Yeah, but
yeah. So,
I didn't get your point.
If I could add to that really quick, is that I just want to say, I'm sorry. I just want to say that I am happy to say that free will theodicy could answer some questions about a problem of evil. It's just that if you're going to treat it as an answer to all questions about evil, that's not going to work for the reasons that I gave. You're going to need additional theodicies to explain why he doesn't interfere in cases where in our own personal human interactions, we would interfere and consider it a moral necessity to interfere and
We
curtail
have no
somebody's
way
free
of
will.
quantifying if
That's
he
not
is or
necessarily
isn't doing
true,
that.
right?
You have no way of
Grace,
knowing
that's actually not necessarily
how
true, right?
involved he
Because
is or not.
Is it okay if I try giving an answer to that question?
look, Grace,
about,
if all you're trying to do is defeat the logical problem of evil, if you accept any free will theodicy, I think you're kind of done, right? Because you don't know the reasons why God chooses certain restrictions on free will and not others, right? But that doesn't matter. There's still no.
But I think we were talking about the evidential, right? I brought up the evidential first, at least.
Yeah, if you're talking evidential.
Yeah, and also you could try to distinguish between what types of evil are supposed to be logically incompatible. So you could say that given free will, you could defeat a certain kind of logical problem of evil. But if you define another kind of evil that you're concerned about, that might represent a logical contradiction.
Bro, you're not making sense. Can you give an example? Like what is this? Like
One
does
sec,
not
one
make
sec.
sense
Let me
at all.
address, since he was
Like-
addressed that to me directly, let me just respond to him. So I think you're right in a sense that I think the best way to put the logical problem of evil, like the free will defense, is essentially the conclusion is there is no evil, right? Like all things considered, a world where X amount of free will exists is the best possible world, right? So in the all things considered sense, there is no evil, right?
My dear Cunegonde, I don't know if you've ever read Voltaire's Candide, but yeah, basically what I'm saying here is that I'm happy to grant that if you use a free will theodicy, you might solve a particular version of the logical problem of evil. Perhaps. I'm not really granting that, but I'm happy to go with it for the sake of argument. But what I'm not granting is that you're defeating it totally. There are other things like natural evils that you still need to consider. You might have to tie free will into that in some way if you can, plausibly. I doubt it. But even so, an evidential problem remains, and I don't think that this idea of not curtailing free will, no matter what, makes any moral sense whatsoever. And we would readily agree to that in our own lives based on how we interact with each other.
Yeah, at an evidential level, obviously, I agree with you. Anyway, whatever. Like, evil is a different
I don't know.
question, I guess.
I don't know what's the point of what you're saying. Like what are you getting at? Like I don't understand.
The point is that free will is not a get out of jail free card in every instance of evil.
Yes.
I'm going to read something if that's okay. It's by Greg Ogden. He's a writer. All right. He says that what exactly is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? What did it signify to the original hearers? The phrase good and evil is synonymous with all knowledge. I agree with that. Good and evil is synonymous with all knowledge. It means to aspire to knowledge on the level that only God has, omniscience. A biblical scholar, Daniel Fuller, says that to aspire to the knowledge of good and evil is to seek maturity, which frees one from being dependent on someone else. So, evil is desiring to be completely independent, to not need anything or anyone else. According to this book, and I like this, the first humans were forbidden from aspiring to a knowledge possessed by God. They were forbidden to eat that fruit, whereby they might consider themselves free from dependence on Him. By this restriction, God is saying, I made you. You depend on me, and I gave you life for wisdom. And you'll work correctly when you trust me, when you believe me, when you are within my boundaries, okay, that God made. So
Really?
yes, evil,
Really?
I would say, is just the desire to leave, to be on one's own. And if my child gets in a car to run someone over, I cannot stop them unless I'm going to catch that car, which I will try to do, but I can't just intervene because I'm not like Flash or
Because you're not
Superman.
God.
It's, you know, if my kid makes a choice to get in the car and run someone over, they made a choice, and they will suffer the consequences for that. And if I'm a good parent, I will say, yeah, you're going to jail. You killed somebody.
Who was the author?
And
That
if
was-
you are a good parent,
What was that?
and if you're a
source?
good parent and you could have stopped them, if you could have stopped them, you would have. You say that you're not Superman, you can't. God is greater than Superman, certainly can. He's not restricted to your restrictions as a human being. And there are all sorts of other things that you said there, like the idea that autonomy is evil. I think that's something that you have to give an argument for, not just
Not autonomy.
give this blatant
The
assertion.
desire
that
to
that's the
not
case. Yeah.
to not depend
To
on
be
anyone
on
else.
one's own. Yes, and that's what I mean by autonomy. Is independence, is the ability to be self-sufficient and independent from anybody else. That's what I'm referring to when I say
but
autonomy.
from God.
I would like an
From
argument.
God.
Yes,
Not
and I
just
would like an
anybody, not
argument.
another person.
I understand.
From
I understand,
God.
but I would
Who
like
made
an argument. I would like an argument for that, number one. And number two, when you talk about it being forbidden, it was forbidden. It was forbidden prior to the human knowledge of good and evil. How are they to understand that they're supposed to abide by some forbidden edict when they don't actually have any kind of understanding of right and wrong? How can we hold them accountable prior to having that knowledge?
They knew they were doing wrong to disobey God.
How did they know if they didn't have knowledge of good and evil?
God told them.
God told them exactly.
So then,
He said,
how
"Don't
is
do
it
that,
that
or
they
you
don't
will
have
die."
that involves a contradiction? Because first we're
he
saying that
said,
they
"Don't do
didn't
that or
have
you'll
knowledge of
die."
good and evil. I understand, but first we're saying that they did not have knowledge of good and evil until they ate from the tree. Now you're saying they did have knowledge of evil beforehand because God told them, revealed to them facts about what is good and evil. Which one is it?
No, he didn't
Look,
tell
look.
them about good and evil. He said, "Don't eat that tree." He didn't say this is evil. He said, "Do not
Right,
eat
and
this."
how are they? And how are they to
disobeyed.
know that that is the right? How are they to know that that is the right course of action prior to understanding good and evil?
Okay, if someone tells you to do
Hey,
something,
Kareem wanted
you
to say
choose
something.
not to do it.
Kareem wanted to say something with respect to this topic. Go ahead, Kareem.
Y'all, I'm gonna go. Yo, Danny, you still streaming later?
Am I streaming later on TikTok?
It doesn't matter. Just I want to see because I'm gonna go now.
Oh, I don't know, man. I don't really plan this stuff out. But Kareem, if you could go ahead and say what you wanted to say.
Okay,
As we've
Bye,
been
Adam.
talking about like free will and stuff, I think we've been focusing on a completely wrong point, like a lot of the whole time. Look, anyone, like I'll give you an example. You have a killer, and he kills someone, yeah. Obviously, that's unfair. That's wrong, and God could stop that. Yes, God can completely stop that. But in a way, like we're not talking about it in a right way. Like even I wouldn't understand it. So like, someone like give me an example. Like, would it be right if that person would be like killed in a way, or something like that person being killed? Is it right or wrong? Like, what would you say? You would say it's wrong, right? Yeah.
What was the question?
My question is basically this: like, you would say that obviously it's wrong that someone is getting killed. with no-
Depends. I mean, like if it's
like
self-defense.
with no reason. If they're an innocent person, obviously that's
with
what
no
I mean.
reason. Like if you mean if
Innocent
someone
person,
killed,
an innocent person gets killed by
Okay.
some complete
yeah,
stranger.
normal circumstances, killing innocent people is not good.
Yeah, and like since it is wrong,
Moral
there has to be a reason that God let that happen.
Well, then it
let
just
them
should
get
happen.
killed.
Then, if there's a reason for letting it happen, it should happen.
True, everything has a
In
reason
what sense
to
would
it.
it be a proto evil? I mean, it's
I wouldn't say it's evil. Well, to our
Right.
understanding, it is evil. Obviously, well, the killer, what he did is evil. But then when we're talking about God, we're saying he's evil because he let that person kill.
No, we're
someone.
just saying that if God thinks it shouldn't occur, then he's going to have the power to make it to where it doesn't occur.
Well, God
This is-
already knows past, present, and future.
No, I
Okay,
don't think this
and
is
he
actually
can.
about him sacrifice. Like what I'm trying to say here
So you
is
complicated things, guys.
I think the reason that God let that person get killed is pretty much either like one reason that I think maybe to like lower the human population, because if you think about it, if people, it sounds weird. I don't know how to describe it in the right way. I'm trying my best to describe it, but
Well, you don't have to look.
Kareem, it's not like that. It's 1 second, guys. So you're complicating things, man. Man, good and evil exists in Earth, okay? So that's why it's a test. So how, if there is no killing, if God says, okay, no one kill each other, like he prevents anybody to kill other person. So
okay, but if we
what's the
focus
purpose?
outside of
Like,
a
what's
test,
the purpose?
let's try looking from it not as a test. Let's try looking at it in a different way, more like a moral
Which is-
standard of life. In our moral
No,
standards,
but
the thing that we follow, we say that it's completely wrong, right?
But you cannot go this way because God created the Earth this way, like to
Yes,
test
God
us
created this
as a
earth
test.
this way. He created it with good and bad. But if we're focusing it away from a religious point, we would say that, oh, it's wrong that God let that slide. You would say that it's wrong. What I'm trying to say here is there's got to be a reason that we might not understand about.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean. Because God mentions in the Quran, for example, in the Surah chapter, the cave. he talked about the story of Moses when Moses was when one of the Israelites came to Moses and asked him, "Are you like, do you know like everything, right? Like on earth, not like beyond God?" And he said, because Moses was a prophet at that time, he said yes, by the
Look,
power
I
of God.
think that, look, the point is that in terms of what God allows, should it occur, all things considered.
No, I'm going to this point. So when the Israelite asked Moses, if you know everything, he said yes. So God said to Moses, why you said I know everything? You don't know everything. There's one person I created you don't know on earth that knows more than you. So Moses said to God, I want to meet that person and learn from him. So God told him, go to that person, in that area, and learn from him. So Moses went to this person, which his name is Khidr.
Wait, look, this is not. This is not what our problem.
No. What I'm saying, I'm coming to the point. Just be patient, Danny. 1 second.
Yeah, but I'm just telling you, rambling.
No, I'm not rambling. If you're patient, you will understand what I mean. So the Khidr, so Moses, he want to learn from the Khidr, right? So he went with the Khidr.
What are you saying? I don't even know. Look, what are you responding to? Me?
No, I'm responding to Kareem. He said, like some things that happen. We're not looking at the aspect of the good and evil as a test, as something else. Which is, for example, like the Khidr, which he killed a child, right?
All right. Guys, I'm gonna wrap up the stream here. Harris, you wanted to talk one-on-one, right? At some point,
Yeah, because like I feel like I didn't get to convey like the points in order because obviously like with a chat room like this, everyone wants to kind of talk and say.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying this out, and in the future, I probably just let less people in or just one-on-ones again or something like that. But yeah, no, we can definitely do it. Just maybe tomorrow or something.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Danny, is there as well a time that I could do like a one-on-one with you? Because
yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, it's only recently in the last week that I've been getting tons of requests on TikTok. Now, every time I go on TikTok, I have 30 requests. But what I can do is I can change my background into something a little bit less provocative. And then I'll get less requests, and then it's going to be easier to have a conversation.
So I guess like one thing I was just curious before you go is are you completely of the atheist view that there's no God that exists, or are you against theists but you're potentially agnostic, or are you like definitively there's no way that God can exist?
I'm pretty certain that there is no God. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Because evil exists.
Well, that's one issue, but it's even hard to understand the omni properties. Yeah.
Could I just like give like a little thought before you go?
Yeah,
then?
of course. Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah.
Cool. So in terms of like just there being a God out there, like forget about how God is defined by like the Abrahamic religions. Like let's just say there's like an all-powerful creator or being, right? Something like that. I feel like for me, a lot of those beliefs, besides like obviously my Muslim background and Islam and stuff, came from, well, I have a pretty big background in like math, computer science, and like AI and machine learning. That's like what I study and what I do. And one of the things I was looking at that really made me interested in the first place was this thing called the Fibonacci series. Maybe you're familiar with it, maybe you're not. So you're familiar with like the golden ratio and stuff like that. Yeah. So for me, it's like with there being the golden ratio, with literally the dimensions of the universe to the way the flowers form and just how those ratios keep popping up, like kind of how people refer to it as a signature of a creator. For anyone in the chat, like that just doesn't know, the Fibonacci, like the golden ratio is like this pattern, a mathematical pattern that keeps popping up in nature. And there's different, obviously people are going to give different explanations to why. For me, obviously that's going to line up and I'm going to use that to say like, oh, that hints at a creator. Like even if we're just talking about whether God exists or doesn't exist. Because like, I was like, okay, how do we know? Because there was one scientific study that was like, oh, this is just the most optimal way for flowers to put pine cones or like to basically package stuff circularly. That's what one study said. But at the same time, it's like but why? Like, how does biology know to do that? Even our DNA helices, like one
Selection.
one DNA loop is 16 by 9. Or I don't know the two numbers, but you can look up the size of a DNA helix. Like it's certain Armstrongs over certain Armstrongs. If you divide it, it's exactly the Fibonacci ratio. So to me, it's just like crazy how certain patterns like that can come up, and how all of like wormholes and like all these like cool different things happen that we obviously don't know as humans. So to me, that like hints at
yeah. There's a lot to talk about here. I know I was just ending the stream, but just a couple things. First of all, Drace, the guy that's right. Can I do this? Or Drace right underneath you. He's really into biology and all of that. So you should, maybe I don't know, exchange numbers or something. But like so if you want to talk about the biology, he's a good person to talk to. I think my general problem is, what does evidence mean? And once we get a notion of evidence, how do we understand what would count as evidence for God? And my problem is that when you investigate that question, it doesn't seem like it's clear about what would count as data that can confirm or the God hypothesis, and including things like the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, and DNA and stars and trees and stuff like that. I mean, it's just not clear what would be expected if or what we should expect to see or observe in science if God exists. If that's not clear to me, but I think that's where we would start. And I do appreciate you trying to give like an argument apart from the Quran. I get a lot. I think that a lot of Muslims on TikTok really want to talk about the Quran, and I'm not too interested. But thanks for trying to give a teleological argument. But
and just I guess last spiel, because I gotta go too, is in terms of like I guess Muslims on TikTok or just TikTokers in general. Like I think if you wanted to like really explore, like even for anyone in the chat, if you really wanted to know like, oh, is this a truth? Is this not? Like see for yourself, read it, all that stuff. Like I don't know if like necessarily going to live streams or having people come on is ever going to like obviously answer a question for you. It's probably not. Like you would have to probably, if you're really interested in finding like any sort of truth, then like let's say you wanted to explore Christianity and maybe you have, I don't know your background at all, you would like have to read it from the perspective of a Christian, in the sense that, okay, this is the context they use, this is what they say. And then if there's like a translation thing or a verse you don't agree with, the first thing you shouldn't, in my opinion, the first thing you should go is like, oh, this verse says this, done. It should be like, oh, what do Muslim scholars, what do Christian scholars say this verse says? And then you use that and you're like, okay, I don't agree with that, or that doesn't make sense. Because a lot of people, they'll take verses out of the Quran or the Bible and whatnot, and they'll say this isn't true. And they'll be like, oh, in the Quran, this says firmament, not heavens, but it clearly says heavens. If you look at any Muslim scholar, they'll say, oh, this word references universe.
I mostly agree. I think a lot of these spaces for me are to debate, to have fun, entertainment. I can learn from them. I've learned a lot from these conversations, but if I was really serious about learning philosophy or learning theology, I couldn't just do it in the space, right? I would have to do my own research independently, talk to scholars, and people that know what they're talking about. These spaces are just to kind of like test out ideas and rhetoric and entertain, and you can learn from them.
That's
but
true. Yeah.
It's not like the bet. If you really want to be learned, this is there's got to be more spaces than this. But I appreciate you coming on. Haven, thanks for subbing today, or I think you did, so I appreciate that.
Thank you. I have a final thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much.
Bye,
Okay,
Harris.
so,
Bye.
You're always asking for like people's evidence of God, and I always want to say like, I don't think anyone's going to be able to be like, here you go. Our evidence for God, I believe, is the Bible, just because of what it says, but it's not going to resonate if you don't have faith in God. Then it's just like this storybook basically. But I think the Bible is evidence that God exists, and also the fact that there is no other life in our universe. We'll keep looking. We keep looking. You ain't gonna find any.
That's a whole discussion in itself.
Also,
if you like this kind of content, Haven, there's a friend of mine that's been kind of inspirational in having these discussions. His name is Pine Creek Doug. you should call into his show. And in fact, if you're a theist, you should call into his show because he likes to talk to people like y'all in a respectful way.
Say
So
his name again?
Pine Creek Doug.
Pine Creek Doug.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he's and he's not that much of a philosophy guy, which is probably a good thing.
He's also known as Satan.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so if you want to, there's y'all, a lot of people that are watching from the TikTok scene, and so they were not familiar with the YouTube scene. And so there's some atheists kind of wanting to talk to theists and having these conversations as well. So that's one way you can connect
Well, I
with people.
wanted to leave that out because I always want to tell you that and I never can. And you're probably like, okay, but
I get that book you were quoting from.
We do have faith. We don't necessarily have evidence. I swear this is my last word, y'all, and I'm gonna leave. But Ezekiel 28 talks about Lucifer, and I think that this is where like evil kind of always existed with God. Like there was always but he was beautiful and proud, and God said, and so. Lucifer
Don't leave.
Tempted us to the knowledge of good and evil. But Ezekiel 28 talks about where Lucifer came from, like what happened to him. He was really the first one that was against God that we know of. So anyway, that's an interesting story.
And Jamie wanted the author of that book, right, Jamie?
No, the title.
The title.
Okay. It is called Discipleship Essentials by Greg Ogden, and there's an updated version. But his articles about evil and the knowledge of good and evil, and really,
that was on point. That was
says
on
is so
point. That was so good what you quoted. I would agree with that. I think it was really quality.
All right, guys.
Thank you,
Love you,
Danny.
Danny.
I'll see y'all later. I'm going to kick all of y'all out because I'm going to say hi to chat and just talk to a little bit myself. All right. Y'all take care, guys. Bye, Drace. Thanks for coming on.
No problem. It was fun. And just to thank you for sending those references. I can't wait to get to them. I haven't yet, but I'm looking forward to reading them.
Yeah, see you, Drace. Bye. All right. I haven't done anything like that. Like done this open mic stuff. It's kind of because I did the one-on-one stuff on TikTok, and then I wanted, more of a chaotic thing here after my one-on-ones, but I don't know how I like it. Probably shouldn't let 10 people in at once. So I think I'm open to having open mics, but I think that maybe in the beginning I'll just let people gradually come in. What do y'all think? Danny, how much to never have her on again? Poor Lucky. I mean, we wouldn't have any entertainment without people like that, right? Stay close to my mic. Okay, stay close to my mic. Yeah, lots of people requires a lot. Maybe limit 4 or 5. Yeah, that might be true. But with that, I think I'm gonna just kind of end it here. Thanks for coming, guys. Y'all have a great day.